Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I like my
Good
color.
morning, Bootcamp.
Good morning, Bootcamp. Good morning, Bootcamp. Okay, so I can't wait to find out what happened with Lori.
Yes, I was thinking about it on the way to work. It's not good. I don't have, do you want me to talk?
Yes, I want you to talk. Do I want you to talk? Yes, Lori.
I
I totally want to know everything that happened in the last 24 hours.
A lot happened. First of all, I got a call from a client that I thought fell off the face of the earth and wanted to quit looking. All of a sudden, she called me and wanted to look at a home last night. She was already pre-qualified, but I thought she had given up. But I took her to see a house last night. I know, isn't that fun?
Yeah.
And then I had the guy from the Slope call, and he wants to go look Saturday at a home out in Big Lake that I had sent him, through the automatic email.
Lovely.
So that was really exciting. And then I did go home. I went to that co-listing appointment yesterday afternoon. Gosh, what a busy day.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting. It's a home that needs a lot of work.
Okay.
And Ann didn't go. I met with the one from Anchorage because it needs a lot of work to get ready to market. And then I talked to the real estate agent, Jay, that sent the offer.
Yes.
Had a great talk with him on the phone.
Excellent. And I want to hear everything that you talked about.
Okay.
So
I have to get my notes.
Oh, we have notes.
I got to get my notes.
I love notes.
From yesterday that we carried on.
Yes.
I scribble. I don't have any handwriting. Here it is.
So,
okay. Well, I told him about the title company, that needs to be put in there. I explained to him my experience with the lender at Matt Valley Credit Union. And I let him know that I did not have confidence in her to see this through to the end, that she was not professional. And she made me a little concerned about her ability to answer my questions. Yeah. And he completely agreed. That was easy. He said, you know what I would like you to do? And this is what he said. He said, I would like you to put that in the counter offer that you want us to change mortgage lenders. And he said, I want to use Ryan at Home State. He said that. Nice. So Ryan already has established, he's worked with Ryan before and likes Ryan. Good. So I thought that was good. So that we'll put in there. He said he would send the disclosure statement. I ended up sending an email with all the bullet points things. He's working on a bill of sale. I confirmed with the seller what was going to go with the house to make sure that Ryan had that. His team leader does not need to be on the contract. Clarified that. On the counter, I was going to do the home inspection date. Just do it on the counter. I explained to him that the buyer had signed on his signature line, and I asked him about another home inspector, so we have a choice. And he said that they just use they always go with that because that's their favorite. They think they're the most professional. They think they do the best job. So he said we just put that one down, and we prefer to work with just that one. So he said I can send you a report if you'd like to see their previous reports and how thorough they are and how good and professional they are. And I said, no, I don't need to see that. I don't know what to compare it to. I've never seen one. And the other thing was I had talked to him before I talked to Teresa about the earnest money being held with the title company. And so I asked him his thoughts on that. I said, could you share with me why it's being held with a title company and not a broker? And he shared with me his reasons were that the title company is a neutral party. That's his reason. That if any dispute came up, someone that is neutral is in control of the money.
Every title company has told us, FYI, and make sure you know this, they are not going to arbitrate disputes.
Right.
So every single title company said that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So I didn't, but then Teresa had told me that Patty said she was all right with it being at the title company. So I didn't do much wrong with that issue.
You don't necessarily have to, but title companies are not going to arbitrate a dispute. Number one, they're not a broker. That's not their, they're not licensed to arbitrate that. So they're not going to do that. Again, it is a change in our industry. I don't think you have to get all excited about it, and I'm not all excited about it, but it's a change that particular brand company, national franchise, would like to make. And
I'm not sure I understand what you mean by they won't arbitrate. I don't understand like why that matters or.
Because our contracts are, remember, we're able to do a narrow form of law
Yeah,
based on our license. Okay, they're not licensed to do that.
okay,
Okay, so in our contracts, the broker has the right to make a determination on the earnest money. They do not. And
okay,
they're not licensed to do that, and they're not going to do that because their customers are everyone.
okay.
So they're put into a precarious position. So when your earnest money is with your broker has a relationship with that client, right?
Uh-huh,
Okay, so their job is to look at the contract. Okay, so a title company is not going to look at the contract. They're not, that's not their lane.
right,
Okay, so they're not going to arbitrate.
okay.
Okay, so
They're just going to do what?
they're probably going to send it to, every single title company has a different policy. I can't tell you what every single different title company's policy is going to be. That's a whole nother kettle of fish. So there's no, and this is a change in our industry that not everybody's wrapped their arms around. So, and it, just because it's a change doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. That's why I don't advocate a position.
Mhm.
However, I certainly want my earnest money held with my broker.
Okay.
That's what I want. I want my broker to be able to make a determination on the earnest money for my client.
Okay.
That's what I think. But that doesn't mean that holding an earnest money at a title company is a negative thing. Okay? It's not going to have the same kind of, I don't know, and having never been through an earnest money dispute yet with the title company, how each of the title company is going to act. So I don't have a
Right.
path that I'm sure that I know the steps.
Right, okay, that clears it up.
Okay, and so because there's so many different title companies, well, how are they gonna handle it? Might be different, how they handle it. And what's their procedure gonna be? And what-
Right, at least you know what to
When my
expect with
broker,
your
I
broker.
have a very clear line of sight on what they're going to be doing with the earnest money.
Got it,
Okay, and it's
Got
always
it.
gonna follow contract.
right.
Okay, so I can't, and not that they would do anything negative. I'm not.
No,
I'm
no,
not saying-
I know exactly. I couldn't follow it all the way through, but now I get it.
Mm.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me make another comment about the meeting yesterday with, I met with Rachel. Her mom is named Patty, maybe?
Yeah,
or
Rachel Higgins and Patty, and.
Yeah, Rachel. I met with Rachel in Palmer yesterday, and I had not seen a listing presentation done on PowerPoint before.
Okay.
So she did it on PowerPoint on her computer, and I saw some benefits to that.
Okay.
And what I noticed on that was it gave everybody a visual, because she had before and after pictures like of staging a home, which I thought was excellent.
Mhm.
And bullet point things that she followed through, and she just said it so that the clients could see it also. And I just felt like it had more of their attention, and it helped her to stay on point, and it helped her clarify things that maybe would be missed if it was in paper and they're fumbling around paper. So I want to try and get something like that.
Did you ask her to share that with you?
No,
Well, why would you maybe ask?
I don't know. I should.
Maybe say, I don't know how you would feel about this. Would you be willing to share
Yeah.
this with me?
That's a good idea.
There's-
I kind of thought, am I stepping over a boundary? Because it was
Well,
the key, it was her.
And here's something else you could say. I wouldn't want to step over any boundaries. I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I don't know how you would feel about this.
Mhm,
Would you be willing to share? Someone can always say, nope, proprietary information.
mhm.
And then sometimes people are going to be thrilled and they're going to be flattered and jazzed.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Mhm.
And typically at our company, a lot of people are very open and willing to share information with you. I certainly, if I have something, I'm always, welcome to share information with you. However, not everybody feels that. And remember, we're all competitors and we all have our own business, so we want to be cognizant of that.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly, I think you're going to find our company to be very, very sharing. I think
Yeah.
if somebody put a lot of time, energy, and effort,
Yeah.
certainly isn't something that you couldn't do.
I think I would prefer to do both. I think I would prefer to leave them with a packet, just leave them with it, not discuss it, but it has some of the things, communicated, like getting your home ready, those type of things. Good cleaning products were in there, really effective ones, just all kinds of stuff that was so good. The one thing I thought was so good was how how do you price your home? Besides explaining a CMA, there was a chart that's, you know how some people, what sets the market, you know how listers a lot don't know that it's the market that sets the price,
Sure.
not what you owe or
Right.
what you want or what you
Right.
think you should get out of
Right.
it.
Right.
But I thought that was really good.
Like if you're upside down in your mortgage and you're thinking, look, even though it's only worth 300,000, I owe 320,
And
so
so
we
I-
need to ask for
Well,
320
more than
and
that,
More,
we need to ask-
350,
we need to ask for-
360.
We need to clear all costs. So
Yeah.
it's, remember, it's not just what you owe, it's what it costs you to sell.
right,
So,
yeah,
so then we're patting on all kinds of.
Yeah.
people on top of
Yeah.
that.
Because they had an unrealistic expectation of what it should sell for.
That's not unusual for people to have an
Yeah.
unrealistic expectation, because what are we listening to in, I mean, people are on HGTV right now.
yeah,
And so they have, I mean, I make this as a joke, but I think it's really interesting. I've gone out with condo buyers at, really low price points. And I mean, they walk into condos and they're like, what? There's no stainless steel and granite in here. And I'm thinking to myself, you can't afford the shoes you're standing in, much less having some kind of demand on the level of property that you're getting. As if everyone in every home will have this outrageous
Yeah.
look to it because HGTV exists. So I think people have, and they also, conversely, I talk to a ton of people who want to talk to me about flips, right?
Mhm.
We're finding a low price property, purchasing it, and then flipping it. That sounds lovely. Okay, trust me when I tell you, if there were money to be made in flips, I would not be standing here right now. I'd be doing flip. But there's tax consequences to flips. There's there's the upside money that you have to come up with. There's financing the property as an investor versus as a owner occupant.
You know what else I think is interesting about those flip shows is I look at that and they say, okay, well, it needs a new roof and it needs this and a new toilet and everything. And then they start outlining the price, and it's so ridiculously low. I think where do you live
Right.
that you can get,
Yeah.
this work done for $1,500?
Yeah.
Up here, they won't even come to your house for less than $500. I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, sure.
Mhm.
Oh, you're gonna get a new roof. Yeah, what roofer is gonna do a roof for $3,000?
Right. It's like, this is not realistic. Yeah.
Exactly, and price, and that's such a good point, like what our contractor, and then, if anyone besides me has ever done work on their home, once you open up your home, guys, you are opening up a host of problems.
Yes.
That you don't know what you're gonna be getting into until you get in there. And it's not uncommon for one thing, for you to think that you're doing one thing, and for you to open it up and find that you have 10 other
Yes.
things that you have to fix and cure.
Yep.
So then that just adds to the price and adds to the price and adds to the price.
It's very interesting that you brought this subject up because that's one of the reasons why I'm in this class. Because I've done south and I've done a few flips and I've done other kind of my own thing. And that's one of the reasons why I said, I'm going to get a better sense of what Anchorage is about before you go into this, because you guys are absolutely right. The price points in Texas are
Or Iowa.
Iowa,
Right.
Oklahoma, or Ohio, where a lot of the flip activity is going on and very successful.
Right.
The price points are significantly low. Detroit is unbelievable right now.
Sure, you can
Can't
get it.
sell them,
Yeah.
but you can get a lot of flip properties
Yeah,
out there.
sure.
But the point is, I really, and I would love, over time, we'll have these conversations, because part of my thinking is that in Anchorage, there is a housing shortage. There are various tiers of the market that are underserved. And so conceptually, I think that there should be an opportunity to take a property that is at a certain tier, improve it, and for that effort, generate value. I haven't figured it out yet, obviously, that's why I'm saying this class and going down this path. But, you keep hearing about the fact that, we've got such a hot market, it's a,
Well, if you're in a seller's market, doing a flip is difficult. Because that means that properties that are not necessarily the most lovely are selling at higher price points than they would in a buyer's market. So that means, I always say this, this would be the moment when you watch the market, guys, and the market acts as a helix, okay, like the DNA helix, okay? It actually moves, okay? And on one side is the buyers and on the other side is the sellers, okay? And as this market is kind of twisting and moving, okay, because you will see that we're very firmly in a flat seller's market right now, meaning our market isn't gaining leaps and bounds where all of a sudden everybody wants to sell their property, okay? But our market is very steady, okay? And we've had steady, good progress with value year over year. So people believe that properties are a good investment. They want to lock it down. You know, there's all the contributing factors, interest rates staying down low and stable. I mean, makes people like really, and makes it affordable for folks to purchase a $300,000 house. So if I'm going to purchase a $300,000 house, I need a 3% interest rate to make that payment affordable. Otherwise, you know, payment-wise, that becomes out of financially out of sight for people, right? So, I mean, you have to have those two mechanisms working hand in hand. If you don't have those two mechanisms working hand in hand, people can't afford as a entry-level house a $300,000 house. I mean, that just has to make sense to folks. So then that other thing that happens is when prices start coming down, guess what starts going up? Interest rates.
Mhm.
Okay, so that same helix works on
Right.
the same. So I may purchase the property for $220,000, but I may be paying 7% interest for it. Guess what? That price is the same. So that has a converse reaction, right? But value being what it is, I mean, the Anchorage base wants, you know, the taxing body wants the economy to do well so they need taxes, right? So I mean, there's many different pressures on value, you know, and if you constantly see this, but what I'm saying is with this market, when it's a flat seller's market, it is difficult to flip a house because people who have an inferior product are able to sell it. So they don't have incentive, you know, on one hand. And then most of the time you can't get into a property because of the cost of flipping isn't just paint and carpet anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now it's paint, carpet, granite, new kitchens, you know,
Mhm.
the expectation of the house as a whole has been risen. So you used to be able to go into a house, paint it, carpet it, flip it. Okay, you can't do that anymore. It's not just that simple. So then that raises again your hard cost in getting in there. But speaking of this, I want to show you guys something. Did anybody watch 60 Minutes?
Mm-mm.
60 Minutes did an expose. Okay. On flooring. And why is this important that I talk to you about this, do you think?
Because flooring is a really big deal to people,
Oh,
a
It's-
really big deal.
Yeah, it's one of the largest, the best things you can improve for selling, isn't it?
yeah,
Paint
sure
and
is.
floor,
So have you guys heard of a company called
Viagra.
Lumber Liquidators? Oh, I apologize, it is with this.
Uh-huh.
Yes, lumber liquidators,
Lumber
yes,
liquidators.
yes.
So they are the number one, here we go. They are the number one flooring company in America. Okay, now I have always said we have a lot of environmental issues that has to do with houses. And I've always said there's a coming new environmental issue. In the 70s, we had lead-based paint. In the 80s, we had radon gas, okay? And then, you know, so every period of time we have, you know, and I've always said, there's gonna be something we're putting in homes every day, right now, that is impacting our health, okay? And I've always said, and of course, remember I told you I'm a right fighter? I've always said it's probably either laminate flooring or it's gonna be granite countertops, okay? Let me see if it'll play. That's what I've seen, these Lumber Liquidators.
Lumber Liquidators is the largest retailer of hardwood flooring in North America, with over 360 stores in 46 states.
Mom said you go build a wall between Mexico and.
Yes.
100 million square feet of the company's cheaper laminate flooring installed in American homes every year. Lumber Liquidators is a U.S. company, but this laminate flooring was made in China. We discovered when we first reported this story out, we failed to meet health and safety standards because they contain high levels of formaldehyde, a known cancer-causing chemical. Lumber Liquidators has insisted ever since our report that its Chinese-made laminate flooring is safe. But it doesn't appear that way based on what we learned from our own reporting and from the work of people like Denny Larson.
The story will continue in a moment.
We may have to watch a commercial, but Ron will be okay with that.
Going out for date night with your man is nice,
Okay.
but I think women would agree. Snuggling up after, it's kind of nice too.
Not Viagra!
Killing me, and I said to you, it's
Viagra, Victoria's Secret. How funny.
Do not take Viagra if you take nitrates for
I did not
They
take
cause
the
an unstable
commercial.
blood pressure. Side effects include headache, also upset stomach, and abnormal vision. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for direction lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor
Yeah,
right away
right
if
by
you
the
experience
time
some
when we
decrease
go
or
to
loss in vision or
Thank
hearing.
you.
I'm looking for it.
It'll be a treat.
Now, Laura,
Use just a little bit of it.
Sorry, no, right.
You want the company to remove all the flooring.
Every single board at their cost and replace it with clean flooring.
How much is that going to cost?
You know what? I don't care, because they're guilty of selling people product that could make them sick.
These worried California homeowners who didn't want to be identified aren't waiting for Lumber Liquidators. They're ripping up their floors now. The many can't afford to replace the flooring on their own.
They don't know what to do. They have flooring that they think is making them sick.
California environmental activist Denny Larson teamed up with Richard Drury, a prominent environmental attorney, to test Lumber Liquidators' Chinese-made laminate flooring. Do you have any idea how much of this wood is in people's homes right now? We believe there are probably tens of thousands of households in California that have installed Lumber Liquidators' Chinese laminate that may exceed the formaldehyde standards. Nationwide? Nationwide, it's probably hundreds of thousands. Drury and Larson bought more than 150 boxes of laminate flooring in stores around California and sent them to 3 certified labs for a series of tests. The results? While laminate flooring from Home Depot and Lowe's had acceptable levels of formaldehyde, as did Lumber Liquidators' American-made laminates, every single sample of Chinese-made laminate flooring from Lumber Liquidators failed to meet California formaldehyde emission standards by a large margin. The average level in Lumber Liquidators products that we found was over 6 to 7 times above the state standard for formaldehyde. And we found some that were close to 20 times above the level that's allowed to be sold. It sounds like a huge amount. It's a startling amount. It was so high, in fact, that one of our test labs thought their machine was broken. The lab itself
It hit the upper limit of the radar gun, and they thought it was broken.
It's not a safe level. It's a level that the US EPA calls polluted indoor conditions.
What do you want that in your home?
No.
Dr. Philip Landrigan of New York's Mount Sinai Hospital specializes in environmental pediatrics and exposure to toxic chemicals. He's talking about the results of another kind of test Drury and Larson conducted, measuring the concentration of formaldehyde emissions coming off the laminates into the air of a typical home.
I would say long-term exposure at that level would be risky because it would increase the risk for chronic respiratory irritation, change in a person's lung function, increased risk of asthma. It is not going to produce symptoms in everybody, but children will be the people most likely to show symptoms at that sort of level.
Children are featured prominently in Lumber Liquidators ads. The company likes to promote the donations of flooring they make to Habitat for Humanity, Ronald McDonald House Charities, schools, and community centers.
Trust the people over 2 million families trust. The flooring experts at Lumber Liquidators.
And on their website, Lumber Liquidators promises that all of their flooring meets or exceeds rigorous emission standards. And they say we not only comply with laws, we exceed them.
Is that true?
That is not a true statement.
Is it legal to sell these boxes of wood in California?
No, it is not. It is illegal to sell these boxes of wood in California. We hope that they will not sell these products anywhere in the nation because they are above the health-based standards that the state has set. Drury and Larson were backed by short sellers. Groups of Wall Street investors who betted the company is overvalued have sued Lumber Liquidators, accusing them of violating California's toxic warning statute. Drury has also launched a class action lawsuit against the company. It is legal for flooring to contain formaldehyde. The chemical is present in some of the cheap glues used in factories, like this one in China. This footage was recorded by investigators hired by 60 Minutes. Formaldehyde is in the glues used to bind wood particles together to make the core boards in laminate flooring. The laminated top, which covers the core board, keeps most of the formaldehyde emissions trapped inside, but formaldehyde does leak into the air. How much is inhaled by homeowners depends on how much formaldehyde is in the glue and how much ventilation is in the home.
You're in a chamber, so you're living with it, you're sleeping in there. And you're constantly exposed. That's the threat, the constant exposure to a potent carcinogen over a long period of time.
Because formaldehyde can cause myeloid leukemia and nasopharyngeal cancer at high levels and respiratory issues, as well as eye, nose, and throat irritation at even low levels, California has strict standards for how much the chemical the core boards in laminate flooring can emit. Every box of laminate flooring Lumber Liquidator sells carries this label, stating it's CARB Phase 2 compliant. CARB is an acronym for the California Air Resources Board, which sets strict standards for formaldehyde emissions in wood flooring. Congress adopted California's limits when it passed the Formaldehyde Standards Act in 2010. That law is scheduled to take effect nationwide this year. Drury and Larson only had wood tested that was being sold in California. We wondered if the Chinese-made laminate flooring that Lumber Liquidators is selling nationwide also has high levels of formaldehyde. So we went to stores in Virginia, Florida, Texas, Illinois, and New York and bought 31 boxes of them. We sent the samples for testing at 2 certified labs. Turns out, of the 31 samples of Chinese-made laminate flooring, only 1 was compliant with formaldehyde emission standards. Some were more than 13 times over the California limit.
Why is it a big deal
Those
to
labs
you?
told us they'd never seen formaldehyde levels that high. But when we took those test results to Lumber Liquidators founder and chairman, Tom Sullivan, he refused to accept that the technology is valid and points out the company is not required by law to test their finished products like we do.
It's not a real
Or
world.
what if you know that a child has asthma?
That's not the way it's used.
You say we don't believe
Or
this.
what, or, right, what do
We
you know?
do believe
Somebody
this
has
no matter what, it's
leukemia.
what California Resources Board believes, and they believe in this.
It's a question. We don't do whatever the regulations are.
If there's a seller
Sellers and how
floor,
approved can.
we don't have, I didn't see the disclosure, maybe Sarah just don't remember it, but, can we ask them how old the flooring is or where they bought it from, et cetera?
Well, we can't, but, and one of the things we've now, number one, in Alaska, we don't have this company. This company doesn't exist here. So, right, anybody know? I don't believe you can get.
I've never heard of it.
They're they are a nationwide chain, and all they do is, okay. And the next part of it is how the company is valued, which is of no interest to us.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, what I've always told you is there's a future environmental hazard that we have in homes that's going to be as significant as lead-based paint, as significant, and we're building houses, we keep trying to build houses with clean materials. Okay, but until VOCs, what's a VOC? Volatile organic compounds. We have a lot of volatile organic compounds in our home. And has anybody ever painted their house and felt that?
Yeah.
Or put carpet in your property and felt ill?
Mhm.
Or how about put new furniture in your house and had got a headache? Those are from volatile organic compounds. Okay, and they exist in all kinds of things, and we react to them. Every different person reacts to them differently. But I just need you to know that there's going to be something like this, and you're on the forefront of knowledge. I need you to know that at some point in time, it's not going to shock and amaze me to find out that, this is going to hit Anchorage, Alaska. Now, they did say that they tested Lowe's and Home Depot flooring, and it didn't show signs of that. But that doesn't mean that that's not going to come up somehow.
Right.
And it wouldn't shock and amaze me that somebody wouldn't have ordered something from this company, and because I do believe they ship.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you can order from them online.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, it wouldn't shock and
Yeah.
amaze me. But there's a standard, it's called the CARB standard, so now you've got a little bit of extra knowledge when you're talking about laminate flooring, okay? And this is not hardwood flooring, okay? And but by the way, what is engineered hardwood?
Laminate.
Laminate. It's fake hardwood flooring, okay? That's why they call it engineered.
Have you seen that new rubber flooring?
No.
My friend just put it in her foreclosure that she bought, it was a little rip out,
Yeah.
and she put it in, and it's really weird, it's softer than laminate,
Yeah.
and so far it seems like it's holding up.
Interesting.
But it was the most interesting thing that we put in, because you literally, you know, how laminate you have to like click in?
Yeah.
Well, this you can actually you can maneuver it, and so I feel like it fits snugger.
Yeah.
And maybe the contracting and that happens during winter and summer won't affect as much. I will let you know in the year after I see what.
Yeah, but and then I'd also want to know, like, again, when you put in artificial stuff like that, what's the long-term effects of that?
Right, well, I can tell you it was more expensive than laminate from Home Depot.
Well, and
That's
right
what I'll
now,
tell you.
and right now, there's a whole, here's the next wave if you haven't heard this yet. It's really expensive, really upscale linoleum flooring. Linoleum that looks like hardwood, linoleum that looks like laminate, I don't know, linoleum that looks like tile, linoleum that looks like high-end products that is not high-end. I can tell you, I don't want a home, and what would be, does anybody know the upside gain if you were to put high-end linoleum in your house? There is one upside gain to it. It's waterproof. So it might be a better choice to put in kitchens, for example, and bathrooms. And it still can have that look. However, I'm going to tell you, when you see it laid, it is you're going to know immediately. You know, it's not going to have the same characteristics. It doesn't look like, it doesn't sound like wood, okay, of any kind of measure. So you'd want to think about that. Okay, and I would tell you that perception is people's reality. Linoleum is one of the most expensive products you can put in your home. It's very expensive when you price it per square foot or per lineal foot. And it's perceived as a lower end product. So right now we've got some builders that are putting linoleum floors in that look like hardwood. And buyers are not liking it. Okay, because they perceive it to be cheap. Okay, so what have you done in real estate since I've seen you last?
Oh, I filled out all my paperwork for to send in for the license, and I do have a question.
Sure.
You know, they ask you what's your business name.
Uh-huh.
That really has no use, right?
No,
I mean, your
not really.
business
Not unless you're
name
going to
isn't-
start. Not unless you're going to start a team situation or you're going to start something.
Okay.
Okay,
I wished I had put Lori Miller
instead of
Laurel Miller.
you can do a name change.
Anyway, because everyone knows me as Lori. So when they see things come across that say Laurel, I don't know that it's a bad thing.
I don't know if it's a bad thing.
It's probably fine.
But
It's my name, but
where does that name ever appear?
On your
Right, but only on the license.
no, MLS will use your license name. That's why my license name's Laurel, so all my MLS automatic emails and anything through that. What?
Oh, so whatever
I did
I,
because I don't know.
so whatever I put there.
Yeah. So do you want to know? I mean, and that's a choice you make. Okay. All right. So any other amazing things? So did you get another offer in on that property?
No, the lady had called me after we left here and said, I just want you to know I am still writing up an offer.
Okay.
So then, but her client was changing lenders yesterday.
Right. That's what I remember that.
Okay. So last night she called and said, I'm sorry, but my buyer doesn't qualify. There's something came up in his.
Okay.
Anyway,
Well,
so she said, I won't be
Good,
writing
good
an
to
offer.
know, good to know. Good to know. Good to know. You're right now.
So, no, she didn't.
She's not going to
Right.
because her buyer doesn't qualify. Okay.
So do you think your seller's going to accept?
Do I think my sellers will accept this offer? Yeah. Yeah. I haven't sent it to him yet. I just now got the revised version back. Just now. I emailed it to you.
Oh,
you revised?
Correct. Because he wanted to rewrite his offer because he realized that
It was.
I know, he said in there, he's so cute. He says, Let's just pretend I never sent the other one.
I'm interested.
Oh, but when we went and looked at that one house last night with my client that's been like hanging on the line, it was such an interesting thing that Jack White would never let me get by with. Patty would never let me get by with this. In the listing, in the confidential remarks, the realtor says, the borough says it's an all-weather wood foundation, but the seller says it is poured concrete. Buyer to verify. I thought that was so weird. Why doesn't the real estate agent that's listing the house verify it?
Because that's not your job to verify that.
Oh, it's not?
That's not your job. You're not, I mean, tell me, what kind of expert are you in wood foundations? If I showed you a wood foundation, would you know what it is? I mean, seriously.
I just thought that was interesting. Well, see, that's good for me to know because I didn't know. I thought, well, why is she like putting all these questionable things in there?
Because because people are going to ask questions when your government documents that most of us use to rely on for information regarding a property or a previous listing says one thing. If you have like something called, someone would perceive that as a hard fact, then you're going to say it's something different. You're going to have to protect yourself a little bit by saying that's what they say it is, but I've looked at it, the seller's looked at it and says it's this. Also, things can change. I can tell you, people perceive wood foundations as being poor construction quality. I'm going to tell you that's not necessarily the case. They can be absolutely just fine. Just like there are some septic systems out there that are called a crick system that are like they're literally wood, and
Right.
some of them function better than engineered systems that we're coming up with. So just because it's old or possibly isn't something that you're familiar with doesn't mean it's a bad thing. However, people get really excited when their house is on piles. They get really excited in Alaska. They get really excited when their house is treated with foundation. They just get excited about it because it's different than usual, and because me as a buyer might go, I may not like that just because it's different. Now, did I say it was worse? No. I mean, in theory, a pile foundation, which meant they had to drill piles, could be a more secure foundation. I mean, like we do live in earthquake country. Right. I mean, in theory, that could be a good thing. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. But a lot of times, especially with some of the lots we have to engineer the lot to what you have. So they're having to drive piles in order to put a foundation in. Okay, so it is what it is. Okay, so what have you done in those in your last? Excellent.
And then I wanted to
Good.
Yay! Can't wait to hear how that goes. Okay, excellent. All right, what have you done real estate since you last?
I have my roof start from my home, so
on my first. Okay.
Yeah, and then I've had 2 people fill out applications with home safe.
Yay!
Oh, yay!
And I've got a cost sheet right here. That's why I'm late. I've been in home safe for the last 40 minutes. I will be writing an offer on the first owner. On the first
Oh, yay!
So let's talk about what you're worried about with the for sale by owner.
You know what we talked about yesterday?
Yeah. Are you at the
Yeah, that's fine. So it's a duplex in Palmer in a single family residential neighborhood. So it's only duplex for like a long ways. And so it's really hard to get comps for the property because it's hard to adjust. And then the tax records show that it's assessed at 172, which is basically 60 grand under what she has it listed for.
So you have a duplex in the valley that's been, and it looks like it's just from my, I spy with my naked eye, it looks to me that it was a single family residence that someone turned into a duplex, which can happen.
What road is it on? Do you remember yet?
Stapleton. I don't remember what the main road is off the.
What's the area though? Like if you're going into Palmer?
Like
Off of Palmer Russell Highway, isn't it?
yeah, so you take the Palmer exit and you go down. I would say about 5 minutes. I don't even think you make it all the way to the fairgrounds. Isn't it?
Oh, I know where you're talking about.
Well, I was informed.
Is it a circle?
Does he qualify for a, does a duplex qualify for an RD loan?
No.
No, it does not.
No, wait,
Duplex.
something else.
Northwood Glen Highway, Parks Highway intersection, after Pioneer Meadows, turn left onto Beaumont.
Yeah,
yeah.
I know where that is.
Duplex in the corner of it.
Yep, I know where that is.
So one of the things I like to do, you guys, we may or may not, depends on if Josh says it's okay, run you copies of this. Sometimes it's really helpful for you to know on a price point what somebody's putting for a down payment, what their closing costs are. So this is a $235,000 duplex in the valley. It's that maybe it says Watzilla, so maybe it doesn't look like that. Down payment, they have to put 8,225% down. Okay, which is, do you have a percent there? 3.5, they put 3.5 because they're going to FHA, right? And they're going to be an owner occupant. Yeah. Okay. So they have upfront mortgage insurance. Okay, that's MI. That is $3,968.56, and that upfront mortgage insurance premium gets added to the amount you are getting a mortgage on, or we call it rolling it into your loan. Okay, so I need you to understand what the terms that we use. Okay, so that makes sense to you. Interest rate on a duplex, fantastic, 3.75. It's a 30-year fixed loan.
And we are choice of going for sell by owner. If we're asking for 8,500 in closing costs, all prepaid allowable costs, because they're going to be paying $11 to get him a 0.5 interest rate reduction.
Oh, it's in order to make it affordable for him.
Oh, no, just because that's phone asking.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm getting 2%, my buyer's going to be getting a really good deal.
Right, okay. So down payment, so he would have to come, so for this duplex, in order for him to finance this duplex in the upfront end, guys, he would have to come to the table with $16,000. If you didn't have closing costs, well, you're asking for them, did you agree?
No.
She doesn't, it's no on that. So origination is $3,729.97. They get more of an origination fee, a little bit more on a multi-family, FYI. Okay. Closing costs are for the buyer, their estimated closing costs, their loan origination fee, they're getting a credit score adjustment, tax transcripts, credit report, flood cert, half the escrow closing fee, their Alta title policy, recording fees, and attorney doc prep is $4,225.84. And the seller on that same amount of money will pay $5,449.39, largest of which they've got a well and septic, and also their title insurance is going to be your big damage. And then prepaid expenses for the buyer is $2,061. And are they making him have any reserves?
I think 1 month.
1 month of reserves. So why do we make a multifamily purchaser have reserves? More reserves than we make a single family buyer.
That'd be-
They're renting it out. What happens if your renter moves out?
Yeah.
So they want you to have a little bit of money in reserves, a little bit more than they would ask a single family. So with your closing costs, prepaids and reserves, they're looking at a significant, I mean, all told, that's gonna be $60,000. And on that price point at $235,000, I think it's really important for you guys to start putting numbers together. At $235,000 for a duplex, his payment, they're quoting $1,494.24.
Now, a big portion of that is the taxes are assessed so low.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Without
the
seeing it,
taxes
I
were
need to
assessed higher, this payment would be significantly higher.
Yeah.
Like $100 or $200, right?
No, probably not that much.
You don't think-
But you're, if they have $60,000 more in taxes. then
Right.
Yes, right. So, $186 is what they're paying in taxes. Homeowners insurance, $80 a month they're gonna charge, but MI, here's a big mamma jamma. Mortgage insurance used to fall off after you had 80% LTV, loan to value ratio. With FHA loans, because of all the defaults, mortgage insurance premium, you're gonna be paying this for the rest of your natural born life. It rolls with the life of a loan. That's $100.
Is that new?
As of April 2012, if that's
Okay.
$160 a month in mortgage insurance. And mortgage insurance is what? Who knows what mortgage insurance
Is that if you default?
is? That is correct. It is default insurance. I'm paying $160, and this is what I think is really interesting, right? This has been my argument about mortgage insurance forever. So I can go get I'm in my 40s. I can go get $500,000 of life insurance for $30 a month. Okay, but for my mortgage, I have to pay for my default insurance $160 a month for the life alone.
For $235,000.
For $235,000.
Wow.
So for $30, I get $500,000.
Expensive.
So, yeah, understand this is really expensive, and it used to go away, and it does not go away. Okay, I don't care what anybody tells you.
Unless you refinance.
If you refinance, but anybody in here besides me refinance ever, a mortgage?
I think we have, yeah.
Was it expensive and painful?
It was expensive right off the
Mine
bat.
was actually not.
Actually, we got in with Wells Fargo.
And do they do your no cost?
Right. Actually, we did it twice. It was the weirdest thing, and we just
Oh, I
kept
think
going
that's what we did.
down.
Yeah, that's lovely. Most of the time, it's
It's
very expensive.
painful,
It's
yes.
very painful. So what that tells me, is you have excellent credit and you pay your bills and you have that feature in that mortgage you got.
Mhm.
I have the same thing. I had a no cost refi, okay, where they paid me appraisal. How lovely is that?
Yeah, and see, I didn't have to get an appraisal or anything.
Because you're your tax bill.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure, but all I know is that I went from like $1,100 payment to like a $800
Yeah.
payment. And it saved me tremendously.
Yeah.
That's awesome stuff.
Anytime and refinancing, but typically you guys, refinancing is expensive and painful. And a lot of times people are refinancing when it's not convenient. You know, so what times would you might have to refi? Could be if you're subprime, could be if you have an adjustable rate mortgage that starts trolling up your finance.
If interest rates drop real low?
Yeah, if interest rates drop real low, you might want to, but again, financially, it would, on a true refi, guys, it almost costs as much it costs like this amount of money to refi. So you would have to have a spare 16, so then you have to think about a long-term payoff. How long do I have to stay in my house for that money to make sense?
Yeah,
mine
for me to
was
start
only
saving.
One month it paid for my refi,
Yes.
so it was totally worth it.
Yeah, and there are, Wells Fargo does have some wonderful refi programs that are no cost, and I mean, no cost to the borrower.
That's what nothing.
Yeah.
No appraisal, no, just, they called us up, do you want to do this? Yeah. Signed a few papers, bam. Honestly, it was the weirdest thing.
So one of the, it absolutely is. One of the things I think is super important for you guys to start doing is when it comes to cost sheets. So when you're doing open house and you see, we typically put these cost sheets in things, you need to start keying in payment, price.
Yeah.
Payment, price, payment, price. You need to start keying in what is it gonna cost somebody to be in a property at $300,000? What's their mortgage payment gonna roughly be? Now, I'm not asking you to be accurate. Did you hear me? I'm not asking you to be accurate, but I do think you need to start putting two things together.
Yeah. Do you find a lot, I'm sorry. Do you find a lot of people are asking that when they're looking at a home? How much is this gonna cost me to, right?
I totally think that you should get this.
Well, Zillow,
Ballpark with them, like $300 thing.
Well, I'm not asking, and I would tell somebody, I'm not a lender. I can't quote. Okay, and everything depends on everything. This guy has to pay a point in order, because his credit score. Okay, so I can't, I'm not bagging on anybody,
Right.
but everything depends on everything.
Yeah.
If your credit score was different, he would have about, $1,600 less, right?
No, this is just a few periods. Okay.
No, $1,500. Oh, no, $1,100. It's gonna cost him $1,153.72.
Yeah.
So literally, everything depends on everything. He would only have to come in with, $14,900. But you should have some semblance of understanding what payment, down payment, and what costs are. You should have some semblance of understanding of what MI costs people. Now, I'm not asking you to quote MI. I'm not asking you to do that. But I think you need to start, this is our business, we need to start theoretically being able to tie amounts of money to payment. Okay?
Numbers always have intimidated me. I don't know why. I just
Well,
need to wrap my head around
But
it.
they don't have to, because
Right.
what's the easiest thing you can do? You can walk into Home State at any given time, you can give them a price point, and they'll do cost sheets for you. They'll tell you what it would cost somebody if they were doing a conventional loan. They'll tell you what it would cost somebody if they're doing a VA loan, and they'll tell you what it's gonna cost somebody if they're gonna do a FHA loan. And you guys, when you start listing properties, which is what we're gonna be talking about today, you have to have an idea what it's gonna cost a buyer to get into that damn house. Because that is a absolute, somebody comes walking in, no, I'm not a lender, I don't play one on TV, and I'm not licensed for that, but I certainly need to have some kind of estimate.
Knowledge.
You know, I
Yeah.
should at least be able to show cost sheets to people and let them give them an idea.
Mhm.
Okay?
Are those usually like using your house or something, or those usually?
Those are using those booklets, yeah, okay, and they're just and again, they're also to give the buyer a really rough estimate, should I even have my highness in this house? Is this even in my price point? You know, is this even realistic for my family? Because everybody, just in case you don't know, and this one always cracks me up, people buy properties based on their payment. What is it gonna cost me a month? Because everything in their life is based on how much it costs them per month. So if I were to ask you what your car payment is, you're gonna tell me how much you pay a month,
Mhm.
okay? It is what it is. People talk about credit cards. They don't talk about how much they owe on their credit cards. They talk about how much they pay a month on their credit card, okay? I didn't see your face. I didn't see your face. But see,
That sounds scary.
People talk about they talk about things in terms of monthly cost. They don't talk about things in terms of a $300,000 house. Okay, and people, you gotta understand payment. Or at least you need to understand the concept and how we get there. And that the other important thing is there are variables, right? So, for example, credit score adjustment is a variable. Okay, that one party might have that somebody else might not. Okay, so what do we know? Do we know whether or not, I will leave it to you in just a second. Do we know whether or not the for sale by owner is, we asked a question yesterday, we were really interested in one particular question. Where'd you get your price?
Right. So,
Did we find out anything?
yes, seller is actually really forthcoming. I don't think her husband appreciates how forthcoming she is.
Well, that's just too bad when you're for sale by owner. It's your job, okay, I hate to say this, but you're gonna hear it from me first. And I don't mean this in a negative way because you owe everyone good faith and fair dealing, okay? But it is your job if you're representing someone to use a for sale by owner's information that they feed you to their disadvantage. I'm sorry to say that, but you have a job to represent your client.
Right.
And if you have a chatty seller, it's my job to get them to chat more, okay?
Yeah, so we spent about 45 minutes on the phone yesterday.
Were they telling you
Yeah,
that?
I did that.
Yeah.
And at first she wouldn't tell me about what their appraisal came in at. But then I explained to her, I said, look, I need to know, do you have to sell this home? Or do you want to sell this home? Do you need to sell it? Because if I get down and we go through and I explain the stuff, home inspection, repairs, pay for appraisal, I was like, and it's a month down the line and the property comes back appraised for 220,000 and you think it's worth 239, are you gonna walk away? Are you gonna say, I can keep it now, I want more out of it? I was like, so that's what you need to decide. So I need to know how you got your appraisal or your number for selling it. And she got an appraisal 2 years ago for 220,000. Then they put the new roof on, remodeled the top unit and painted that exterior. So they took from the appraisal and then added in the cost that they spent on all those items, and that's how they came up.
So what do we already know about dollar for dollar? When you do an improvement to your property, do you always get dollar for dollar for that?
No.
Okay.
So that's why I'm thinking about, this is my first cost sheet I've run.
Right.
235, which is $4,000 less than what you want, plus 8,500 in closing costs. So I'm pretty much asking for 12,500 off the price.
Okay.
But don't you think oftentimes people do think, like, geez, it cost me $8,000 for this roof. And so they figure they can charge
Sure.
you know what I mean? Or my
No,
kitchen was 20,000.
Dollar for dollar, roof is generally.
Roofs will almost get you dollar for dollar, because roof is a 30-year investment. Does that make it,
I see what you mean.
And it's an essential element of a home. So a lot of the work, anytime, and I'm not always gonna be 100% accurate, and of course, everything depends on everything, but typically, when you do a big mamma jamma job, painting on the exterior, yeah, you're not gonna probably get dollar for dollar. Painting in Alaska is ridiculously expensive, but typically
How about a new boiler?
What about your,
it depends on what you pick. If you pick a generic.
oh, you know, I'm sorry,
87%,
that
Go ahead.
keeps
If you pick
calling
a-
me.
If you pick a generic boiler, yes, you probably can get dollar for dollar. If you put a $20,000 boiler in.
Right.
If you put
They upgraded their heating system pretty far, right?
Yeah, they did. I think she did silk combustion with a Wilmington gold boiler.
Yeah.
So I would tell you that's again, but not, does your house, so it's like, my car's a Ferrari, right? In a boiler. No, that's not gonna get you dollar for dollar. But if I buy a Chevy, you should get a dollar for dollar
Right.
value on a Chevy. If you decide on a Tesla, maybe not so much.
Yeah, I mean, we had a guy over yesterday giving us prices for a new boiler, and he was like, you know, just the way your house is built
Right.
and the baseboard heat and so on and so forth, you're wasting your money trying to get one of these 97%. You know, so it was interesting.
The additional cost of either sealed combustion or the high end is, it's gonna, the return on investment for you
Yeah.
to get that for the decreased energy, it's like 15 years.
Yeah.
So, and you know, when a contractor is telling you, now, the other thing that they don't tell you, are you ready for this one, is when you put these super, super, super high energy boilers in, the maintenance cost on them is ridiculous. And then, of course, not everybody's gonna service your Ferrari.
Right.
Only a Ferrari dealership is. And then they might have to ship up a mechanic. So I didn't mean to cut you off. You had a really important point, I'm sure.
I forgot it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Actually, it was, you said that there's a discount or some correction done for credit scores.
Yes.
Can you just explain what that really is?
Sure, it's a credit score adjustment. So what a lot of lenders are now putting into play is that if you don't have a credit score, like at whatever that mean acceptable level is, I'm gonna probably tell you 620, they're gonna penalize you in cost for having a bad credit score.
And is it a one-time cost or is it on the rate? Is it a one-time?
It's a fee based on your bad,
No, based on the score.
based on the score.
It's a one-time.
Yeah.
It's a one-time.
Yeah. And that may or may not go away, that has come into play in our mortgages, and that may or may not go away. Okay, and that's only been in play for probably 2 years.
I think it's just because credit scores used to jump around a lot more, don't you think? No, I think it's so hard to get your credit up now compared to getting it down. Let's just put it that way. Like I lost 100 points one time.
Sure.
I about died.
What were you doing?
I got a ticket downtown and didn't know it, but someone took it off my vehicle and I went to collections.
Oh, interesting.
$30 cost me 100 points off my credit score.
Do you think that's a big deal to her?
And I literally argued it 6 ways from
And
Sunday.
they're like, no.
I was like, I never got a ticket. Well, we sent something to your house. No, you didn't. Like, I would have paid it. It's $30.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Thing is, though, once it hits your credit
Oh, it was done.
report, it doesn't matter. You can argue with the people who gave you the ticket all you want.
I
They
can,
don't care.
I can literally tell you my score has never been the same. As
Yeah.
I've never gotten it back. I was at 850 and I've never gotten it.
She's bragging.
I said I was.
She's bragging, she busted the average. That's the best, one of the best credit scores you can have, depends on your credit.
Right, and but I've been like,
I'm not judging you, what are you?
I'm just saying,
I'm not
I'm just saying, 'cause I figure that's why they have buy downs, because it's so hard.
But you can
to back
fight, you
up.
can fight and send letters to Experian and so on.
Oh, I thought, I
Yeah.
disputed, there was no,
But the point is yes, but it's not for somebody who has a 720, it's not an issue. It's for somebody who's on a 5.
right.
So is it, I know you're not a lender, but I mean, do you have situations where people just cannot get a home loan?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I've got a couple right now that it's gonna be a year
Or more.
yeah, before they're able to.
Well,
qualify.
but here's what's really interesting, and I see people falling into 2 camps. I see people falling into the camp where I think I have terrible credit and I don't.
Right.
I think I have.
That was this guy.
Yeah,
He got no way.
No
to
way,
qualify.
yeah. Yeah, and then I also meet people who think that their credit is fabulous and it's awful. You know? I mean, there's people who live in fear and people who live in delusion. So, I mean, it kind of, like, well, I had a ticket once, so it ruined my credit. Well, it went from an 850 to an 800. Suck it up, Buttercup. No.
And then something else hit, and then I went forward from that.
Okay. Probably the absolute worst thing you can ever do is be late or foreclosed on a mortgage. It's going to have the hugest impact on your credit, or to have a vehicle repossessed will have the largest amount. Also, the stupid collections that people have, people who think that collections accounts don't bring their credit score down are delusional as well. So people who buy something, decide they don't like it, and just quit paying on it. Like Rainbow vacuum cleaners would be my favorite, or Kirby vacuum cleaners, the door-to-door vacuum cleaner people who you buy a $3,000 vacuum when you can get a $200 one at the store. You could get me going on that for a day, but it can paint your house. Yeah, like how often are you going to paint your house with your vacuum cleaner? I'm just saying. Yeah, you can really paint your house. That's why people buy them. Because you just don't understand, Jocelyn. It can do all these things.
My dad actually was a Kirby vacuum
Yeah.
for like 15 years. I've never heard of paint your house.
Oh, it'll paint your house. Oh, yeah, it'll paint your. You just don't know. They're magic, and everyone needs one or two.
My dad was actually a Kirby vacuum salesman here.
Absolutely.
That's really funny.
It's awesome.
Last time he came up here, the guy who owned it still owned it.
Yeah.
He still had a picture of my dad.
That is perfect. I'm telling you, they're amazing. And you know how they get you sucked in? They walk in and they have you take the sheets off your bed and they clean your bed.
Oh, it's so gross.
And it's so disgusting. Like what we're sleeping in is vile. Okay, we need to take a break right now. Just for that idea, I need a coffee.
I would not mind if you wanted to, oh, well, she didn't do the same one.
Okay, that's why I was thinking about it.
Okay, yeah, that's fine with me.
Does everybody want to say a coffee? And this is, okay, and again, everything depends on everything. This is a duplex. That's okay. Bob and Betty. Would you be willing? Okay, so I'll go get copies of this and we'll get coffee. Everybody else good? Yes, you are, because you can.
Where do you get your coffee at?
Well, you can get from upstairs. You want to come upstairs for just a cup? Obviously, you're welcome to get a. Well, because they never, okay, so, have you ever read them? Okay, yeah. So they always like talk about the property, and you talk about the contract is, and it talks about every amendment, and whatever. So we're under contract for 335, right? And then it's like, you gotta go and go like this, through all this stuff, and it's like, they can't just say what the appraisal amount is. And every appraisal is comes what? No. Appraised value of central property. So appraised.
They couldn't just say it like right here, it's like at the top,
Appraised, bam, done. No, can't do that. Appraised, property appraised. Order it so funny.
everybody's gone. Did you get my emails?
I did, I'm ready to know. Thank you so much.
Sure. I don't know what to do. Like, when do I give this offer to my client? He hasn't even seen it yet.
When's the expiration date?
Tonight at 6. Tonight at 6.
Can you do it before then and give him?
Yeah, but I guess I should look at it. Or should I just forward it to him now, or should
Ask her.
Yeah.
Everything back that you need to give it to him, because he needs to make a decision by tonight at 6 and respond.
Yeah.
And all that
But
time.
she had recommended me yesterday on the phone to counter offer a few things. I've never done a counter.
I hope we can chase away the,
No, he went with Teresa somewhere.
that, new gal.
Oh,
that
Nicole.
came. Nicole was
She
her
was
name.
darling.
She was so.
She was here yesterday.
I kind of felt bad for her. I just,
Oh,
yeah, I hope she comes back.
Yeah, I hope so.
She seemed kind of shy or. Okay, so I'm gonna pick my name. Would you mind showing me where the name appears? Your business name on
Yeah,
MLS?
No
When
problem.
you have a minute, I know you're
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah, see, like this,
I was wondering what I could.
at the bottom of everything that comes up, like if I printed that out or forwarded that to my client, it comes up Laurel Miller.
Okay, so if you have
And I went to
Susie
MLS.
Q's real estate,
Yeah,
it would be.
If I went to MLS to ask them if they could change that to Lori Miller, and they said, no, it's what your business license says.
I'm
So,
glad that we had this
Yeah.
conversation.
I was wondering why Arkansas is like my middle initial is there, but I guess I put that on the business.
yeah,
And that's it.
yeah. Yeah. Now, how long, Zal, have you lived in Alaska?
27 months,
Oh, and you
2
moved
years.
here from where?
Texas, Dallas.
Oh,
I
yeah.
came up in the summer of 2013.
Okay. What brought you here?
That's it.
Just Alaska?
Yep, I
Okay.
wanted to live, I love the mountains.
Yeah. Oh,
And in Texas, it's sort of hard to get to.
yeah, they are beautiful
So,
here.
I shut down, I had a career in technology consulting for 15 years.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, I started a business in healthcare. And then closed that down in 2013, and mobile care became reality. And I was at a good point in my life where I could do whatever I wanted
Make
to
a
do.
transition.
And so I came up to Alaska. I've been up here for visits. But then I came to Anchorage to see if I could make a living here.
Uh-huh.
And met some good people, and then decided to come home. So I came up here. I do contracting now.
So you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You like to.
I sometimes miss the security of having a regular job.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I totally appreciate not having a regular job.
Uh-huh.
So I do have a couple of clients, and it's kind of a different world. It's sort of a real estate world where I think you're always on edge because you're always wanting to get that next client and keep the paychecks coming in. So you're always sharp and looking. So that's kind of what I've been in as well, is you're always looking for the next client. You're always looking to sell or socialize yourself to where you have the opportunities coming your way.
Are you thinking about getting out of your Right.
When you feel that there's no land between your legs, that's what you gotta remember.
Well, and interestingly enough, I'm gonna bet that you realized that your job was slow in your role.
Well, yeah, well, as soon as I start getting some pendings,
Then she'll believe you.
I'll believe it.
Okay.
If I could close 2 to 3 a month,
Thanks.
I would be,
You'd be
well,
feeling amazing.
I'll be, yeah, available. Okay.
All right, so we talked about putting together a listing presentation, right? That's what I really want to talk about today. And doing a CMA. So
Do I
one of
have
the,
that still?
okay, good, you have that still?
Mm.
But
Great.
That's great, thank you.
Okay. And you might not have brought it. Okay, great. So talk about doing a CMA. So one of the most, I think the most critical things for you to do, I'm gonna keep hammering this in because this really, I think, is interesting to me. I do not see licensees going out and touring properties. Okay? I see people on their computer looking at photos. Okay?
Oh, you would like to see?
I
Oh.
want to see you, I mean, your job, the inventory is out there. It is not on your computer.
Mhm.
You cannot tell me that a house is gonna sell until you've stood in it. You could have the most amazing, beautiful photos online. You can get into a property and find out that it's a crap shack. And you can say, oh my gosh, this is the perfect house for 6 of my buyers, and the listing licensee is doing such a terrible job marketing it that they're missing it. Okay? Also, the most important way for you to understand value is to actually be in the market looking at properties. So one of the things I find interesting, and this starts to happen when you're showing lots of properties, is you're sitting here saying, I'm not 100% this property is going to come in at value. So you're having some sense already of value. And how are you having that?
Well, just what I've seen in the neighborhood versus what they're offering right now. Or what
So
they're
the list
asking.
price,
Yes. Now, I'm not, I mean, I still need to qualify for 235. I wouldn't write the contract for something I didn't think qualify for. But if there's always that cautionary, well, it's because of the appraisal and stuff on.
sure. And you never know.
Right. So
You
I
can,
just don't want my buyers wasting time and his money.
Sure.
They're gonna come in and say, no, I don't need to sell.
or,
It's
or,
the needs to sell, right? It's
Sure.
not the want to sell.
well, or it's the, you need to understand if we go into contract with an FHA loan, that they're not going to lend more. He's not, doesn't have the difference in cash at closing.
Right.
So,
And they both understand that. And I mean, she understands that. She actually has a really good sense of, she bought and sold her own a couple times, so she gets how the process goes.
good.
And so she understands that if it doesn't appraise them, they won't get money.
Okay, and does she understand that, does she still want to move forward with it?
That's what she's talking to her husband about, because that's what I told her. I said, if it appraises for this amount, this is what we have to sell it for.
Yep.
This is what we're gonna do. Because my buyer still wants it, so I need to make sure that you still have the desire and the need to sell.
Right.
So, hopefully. Hopefully, my buyer really loves it. He's in the house, I'm like, shh.
I know, right?
Well,
Is he,
the seller's there.
I know, is he already in love? Yeah. Hard thing when your people fall in love with properties.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. No, well, I mean, we've seen 17 and he didn't like it until
Until this.
yeah,
And that happens.
yeah. But he's like, I really like the house, I'm like, shh.
You know, shut it down, cowboy.
Calm yourself. right
So if
now.
you want to get out and see properties, and let's just say you call the listing agent, you find out it's just on a lockbox, you can just say, can I go take a look?
Sure.
That's it. Okay? And you should always call.
You should follow the listing instructions.
Oh, that's right, that's
Follow the
right,
listing instructions.
that's right.
And don't be shocked and amazed to find out what we all find out. What I do is I will call, typically. I will send a text saying, this is Teresa Block with Jack White Real Estate. I'd like to preview your listing at 1234 Main Street. If you have at 2 o'clock, between 9 and noon, if you have an issue, please let me know. Okay, so what
Okay.
am I doing? Giving you
Closing the door.
I'm giving you a window of opportunity. I'm letting you know I'm going to show the property, and if it's going to be a problem, call me and let me know, or text me and let me know. And I'm also, here's the other thing, please identify yourself in your text messages.
I always start.
Yeah, please, hi.
Hi.
Perfect. Hi, this is, because we all think that we're in other people's phones and we might not be. okay? Plus it allows them to say, allows me to talk to you. So when I just get random texts, I'm always like, people are talking, or just start texting me, and I'm just like, I don't know who you are. Sometimes.
And yeah, I hate asking who is this?
Right.
I know, I do too.
I feel like I
do
should
too.
know who you are. but I
And
don't
that's
know who you are.
and that's the point. I feel like I should know you, and I don't. So always identify yourself, even if you know that you might be in their phone. As a professional, I think you should identify yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think like, for instance, with Ken, when I went to go show her his, I knew I was in his phone already. We
Sure.
already had several phone
Right.
conversations. Instead of being so professional, I was like, hey, kid, it's Jocelyn.
Perfect.
Like, if
There
they
you go.
think I'm in their phone, I'm gonna be a little bit
That's
Mhm.
fine.
more casual than if I don't know who the hell they are.
Exactly. So when you're putting together a seller's guide or something, so one of the things you guys have, and these presentations are put together by our marketing department, and they're absolutely 100% customizable. Now, if I were going to go so far as to have my own flyer template, if I was going to go so far as to have make my own marketing, I'm also going to take this as a guide, and I'm probably going to brand it with my own stuff on it. Okay, did you just hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make my listing presentation, because once this can get sent to you, it is editable, right? Does everybody understand what I'm saying by editable? So what else might I want to have together? I might want to have an AREC, obviously, CMA, listing paperwork, whatever kind of marketing pieces that you have, which is so important, I think, to have a flyer template already set up.
Oh.
Okay, I take the statistics. Why do I take the statistics? Because I let the market talk to people. And by the way, lots and lots and lots of people understand statistics more than you would think. They can really, really draw their own conclusions. Where you can just lead them there, and they get to draw their own conclusions, and we get to talk to them a lot about what the market talks, right? So I talk about the market talking all the time. I might have some information about me and about my company. I might have, for example, a personal brochure that I've put together. I might want to have some information on Jack White. Where can I find information on Jack White, for example?
In the workroom.
In the workroom, on our website, okay? So I might want to know a little bit about, and then I want some information on getting your home ready for sale. Because one of the things I like to make very clear with sellers is that you and I are going into business together. My job is to market your home. Your job is to have your home in sellable condition 24 hours a day. I am taking on a huge job to market your property and get it sold. You are taking on a huge job having your property ready to go. And what do I mean by sale, ready to go? What do I mean by that? Clean.
Repairs done.
Possibly, maybe.
I mean, if there's things that are wrong,
Yeah.
broken, holes in the sheetrock,
Sure. If I can see some,
broken light fixtures.
sure, broken light fixtures, if I can see some things like that I can I spy them with my naked eye, and that would make a huge impact.
You would have your seller do a pre-home inspection?
I will tell you.
I just know some licensees.
I will tell you a secret, I would probably have, it depends on the age of the structure. It also depends on whether or not the property is in pristine condition or not. So you're gonna know the house when you see it.
Can I ask you something
Sure.
about,
Sure.
I don't have the picture, I have it on here. But the house that we're selling it's a 1970s house, and it has a stairway that's pretty narrow going up there.
Mhm.
And my buyer's concerned about that.
What buyers?
I mean, my seller's concerned about that.
Okay.
When I talked about home inspection.
Can't answer until you get a home inspection.
Okay.
I mean,
I just wondered how that
typically-
was, if there was a rule about how wide the staircase needed to be.
Well, even if it comes up, you're gonna say we're not
Yeah,
putting in a whole new stairway.
Yeah.
So
You
it's gonna,
can say that. Also, it's gonna depend on their financing, whether or not. So financing is gonna trump whether or not you're gonna say something like that or not. So it depends on someone's financing, and also you can just let the buyer know that is not going to be something that the seller's gonna be comfortable with. And really what makes a big difference, and please don't get all these things confused. It's my understanding that there were not codes in your market area until maybe 5-6 years ago.
Mhm.
They didn't actually adopt building codes. So homes were built and rebuilt and refurbed. With literally, you could build, and when I say, I mean, it drives my sister crazy. Hi, Patty, I'm saying it again. You could have built a house with toothpicks and Toyo stoves, and you could have sold it as a single-family structure.
In the valley.
In the valley, okay? Because the only thing you had to do in order to build a structure was buy a driveway permit, okay? Now, that has changed if you are in Wasilla proper, okay? Once you get to the outlying areas, I can't say what they're going to require. In addition, it also depends, so if we flip the script and we say that property was in Anchorage, where there has been building codes for years and years and years, it depends on the year the property was built. It depends on any additions or any other building permits you would have gotten after or when you would have had work done. Okay, so sometimes properties can get variances, sometimes they can get different types of things from the municipality will allow a use to continue. Like a non-conforming use or things like that. In your market area, it's a little bit looser, shall we say, just because of building codes, okay? So you see a lot of very interesting properties in the Mat-Su borough. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
You see a lot of interesting properties that can be financed that if they were in Anchorage could not. Just bottom line, because of the area, okay? So sometimes a house is in too perfect condition. Why do I say a house might be in too perfect condition? Is there such a thing?
Because the home inspector might
not find
dig deeper.
Yeah.
Just to find something.
Yeah, because typically when a buyer is spending the money on a home inspection, a home inspector's job is to find something.
Yeah.
You know, if you come up with nothing, people feel like they've wasted their money. You know, so sometimes I don't actually, if I can see some things that I know for sure they're gonna call out, I might ask them to leave those, so the home inspector has an easier time to do their job. But if you walk into a big fat mess, sometimes you know that they need to get the property in its best condition possible. And there's the one single unifying factor that I can tell you will sell a house over all other factors is clean. Clean. You can have a home that is not particularly updated, but if it is
stinky.
If it is clean, it will sell. If it is that same property that is unupdated and dirty, it will sit on the market forever. Okay, so I cannot, when I talk to people, clean is such a big deal. Over, I would say, updated.
And you know, some people don't, and I know this sounds weird, they don't understand what clean means. Do you know?
Oh, yeah, they don't see it.
No, I say Ritz-Carlton Hotel clean. I show them IKEA and Martha Stewart living catalogs. I show them Pottery Barn. Let me give you an idea of how clean something needs to be. This is how clean it needs to be. So does everybody understand when I say Ritz-Carlton Hotel clean? There's different, you are absolutely correct. There are different kinds of clean. Okay.
When I did open house on Saturday, and when I went in the house, I was like, wow. And when my sister and brother-in-law came, they walked around and they told me, Lori, this house is not ready for open house. Wasn't my listing, but so when I had a break, I was cleaning and I vacuumed the whole house so before I left.
So did you see my open house kit? What did you notice was in my open house?
Your wipes and things. Yeah.
Because if I'm sitting in an open, but here's a mistake. I would not go and do an open house without previewing that listing and knowing that it's a good listing. Yeah. So I don't agree.
Well, I didn't want to tell the listing agent no and close that door.
Well, I can certainly appreciate that.
Yeah.
I can certainly appreciate that.
So what I did was
What you did?
the owner told the listing licensee what I did. I mean, yeah, I told her I was cleaning it up, but he let her know. Well, it was a great relationship with the seller. So I talked to the seller later because he was getting me brooms. He was telling me where the vacuum was. He was getting me all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But so what I told him when I left, we were talking and I said, you know, your house will really show better if you just, you know, if you don't have time to do it, pay to have someone come in and just do a detailed cleaning. He says, oh, we did that a couple weeks ago. Yeah. I was like,
You should have said, I hope you
and he
saved
was
the
one
receipt.
that just did not see, and maybe he did it himself, did not see the cobwebs, did not see the dust fluffs on the light fixtures, did not see the dirt marks on the doors.
But he was in the home watching clean.
He was having a garage sale outside the home while I was doing the open house.
Can you come to my open house? I have a house.
Well, I didn't want to go sit out there and do a garage sale. I'd rather stay busy.
Yeah.
And I love to clean.
But
didn't mind.
here's the thing, I'm gonna tell you, it's a really big deal how clean a house is. It's a really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that can be the difference between that house selling and not.
Yeah, right.
Okay, and by the way, people perceive, here's something else that's very interesting. People perceive homes that are clean to have less maintenance.
Yes.
Because they think if you take care of that, that you
Mhm.
also take care of the maintenance idea, even if it took a 50 tag team band of merry maids how to do this.
Mhm.
So what's the conversation you have? Okay, so you tell them this is what it has to be, clean.
Yep.
And then they say, okay, well, we did it, and so come over and look, and you get over there, and it just isn't right. Do you tell them, look, we're not putting it on the market, or do you tell them?
Everything depends on everything, to be really honest with you, Jean, and I can only say it depends on their, and you're correct, some people can't see it. I mean, I find it really interesting, right? This is what we do for a living. So we get into, and the whole idea being is, you've got the magic key, you should be getting into homes. Now, I have taken someone who really can't see what I'm talking about, and I've taken them into other listings. And by showing them, saying, I need you to see something. I need you to actually see your competition. So when I see your property, this is what I see. Now, when I see their property, let me show you what I'm looking at. So when I'll open a closet door and I'll say, when I say clean, I'm talking about people are going to be opening. And that's the other thing that's really funny. When you say clean, a lot of people think surface.
Mhm.
And that means shoving crap in rooms and shoving crap in, that's what they perceive as clean. Clean to them just means getting the everyday
Mhm.
stuff just picked up around the house, shoved in a drawer where somebody can't see it. There's a difference, is there not? Okay?
Yes.
Oh.
Like a listing presentation and you walk into it within a month and you tell them that it's already,
Yeah.
you don't send a contract yet, or do you send?
Here's the deal, you guys, I'm always signing, I will always want to get that contract signed as quickly as possible. Why do I want to get that signature on the page? I want it to be mine. So I just get it done.
I just want to be
Because,
mine.
I think by putting up artificial barriers to signing a contract leads to disaster.
Uh-huh.
Because we can be getting the property cleaned while it's on the market, right?
Mhm.
Because it's not being shown 24 hours a day. However, when it comes to, especially if you're going to be the licensee who's going to be doing the professional photography, that's when you have a bigger stick, right? Look, I'm going to be paying the money to have a professional photographer come in here, and it's going to cost me like $150. And in order for this property to show all of its potential and to appeal to the most amount of buyers, you and I have to agree that we've got to get the condition up. Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask another question?
Of course.
I went on my first listing appointment. It was quite a few weeks ago. It was with that really neon green house. I don't know if I told you about it.
Nope, you haven't told me about it.
But the lady she approached me at church and she said, I want you to know that I'm going to be selling my house and I want you to sell it. And that's what she said. So I had followed up a couple weeks later when she had available time, and I went and met with her and her husband. I did a listing presentation. It was my first one, but I don't think I did too bad. So I'd been calling her and she hadn't been returning my calls. So I drove over there and I saw that she had gotten the house painted, which was one of the things we talked about. So I knocked on the door, and she's a friend too. So I went in, I was talking to her, and I could tell she was kind of uncomfortable. And then she said, well, I just need to be honest with you. Another realtor is pressuring me to list my house, who is also a friend of hers. How would you handle that? What would you say? I mean, what would you say?
It would depend on who it is and how valuable my relationship is. I mean, my relationship with people never was determined on whether or not they use me as the realtor. And say, oh, I'm so sorry, somebody would be pressuring you. But I don't think it's something where we need to start avoiding one another. If you choose to use another realtor, that's going to be your business decision.
Yeah, I told her it's your money, it's your home, it's your decision. I would love you to choose me because I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I'm
but,
super excited about it.
It's your decision.
And I'm so proud that you went ahead and made based on my recommendation, went and painted your properties. I think that's going to really add a lot to your bottom line. However, I think it's a mistake to make your relationships based on business. I think it's a mistake to make your business based on relationships.
Mhm.
Because people, and what I mean by you count on somebody being your client, okay? And they're now not your client. And I'm gonna use you as an example so you have a parent who has a property listed and with somebody else, and your license.
Yeah, it was just the circumstances because I wasn't talking much.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, the bottom line is your relationship with your father shouldn't be based on whether or not he uses you.
But I would hope.
I think I did all right handling it, but I was a little bit surprised. I wasn't expecting that.
Sure.
So I was like,
I had that
well,
happen recently too.
yeah,
where
I was fine with it, but
Listing licensee doing presentation and I didn't know it until I was having a conversation with another licensee here. And they're like, oh, that's funny because this person just went and had a listing appointment with the same person.
mm-hmm.
And they went through and they did my recommendation, just like I told them to. But, you know, the listing licensee ended up reducing her commission, which wasn't something I was willing to do, so she got the listing.
Here's the other thing. You better know this right now. Every single human being knows about 10.2 realtors. Not one, not two, 10. 10. 10. I know thousands. People know 10, just like casually know 10 people who are in our business.
Well, it was a learning experience where just because people say it so matter-of-factly to you that you are going to be my realtor, until something's signed,
Right.
you never take
Yeah.
it like
No.
you're going to be their realtor.
No.
You wait until,
And it's a
Yeah.
mistake. That's why I'm saying it's a mistake to count on those relationships.
Mhm.
And it's a mistake to be relational. Like I many times was put in a position where I was like, oh, interesting. A house I sold you just went up for sale. But again, you know, I'm not going to cut off that relationship based on the fact that they didn't choose me to list their house.
Mhm.
I mean, lots of people are going to choose people for lots of different reasons. Okay? Quite frankly, the other person might be outmaneuvering you, Lori.
Mhm.
They just might be. You know, they might really, and you know, a lot of you guys I notice are very timid about getting business, and a lot of us are much more. It's the Today Show.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're trying to get that listing appointment. We're trying to get that listing signed. We're making all the moves to do that.
Mhm.
So, and you have to decide how you feel comfortable in your own skin. You know, there's a very fine line between being a professional, and there's a very fine line between being a skeezy, pushy salesperson.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
everybody's line is different. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't perceive you as to be the particularly pushy person.
I'm not pushy.
Yeah, but if
Yeah.
you're gonna be in sales, you might have to, as a skill set, you might have to recognize that I might have to be a lot more assertive than I'm used to
Assertive.
be.
Mhm. That's a
Okay.
good word.
Okay, I just might have to start. And you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head. This is the first time I consciously heard you say salesperson in the context of selling model. It's something called pushing to close. I think for people that are, I'll just use the word timid, and I fall in that category in certain situations, we have to train ourselves to learn to close.
Mhm. Because it's not your normal thing you do.
Right. You know, a lot of people try to close obliquely or in different ways. And the successful ones they learn how to keep that relationship, but then they learn how to get you as the buyer to close.
Or seller, yeah.
How do you, when they've got a period of time where they're working on their house, can you get them to sign
Yes.
that early?
Sure.
And how does that look in the agreement?
So that would be a non-MLS agreement, and you would agree to delay marketing of the property. Now, there's a plus side and a downside to this. So what's the plus side as you get the listing? The downside is it shows you burned off your marketing time. You burned off sometimes the most critical marketing time.
By the first few
When
days.
it hits the market.
MLS, it's gonna show, so if you decided, sure, yes it
I
does.
thought that Becky DeBate just put a property on the market that never showed that it
She might have written some specific language in her listing agreement. I think
she
Terry P said,
called-
yeah.
I think she called MLS and I think she asked how to do it so that when she put it on, when it went live,
it showed no marketing.
It showed no marketing piece. So that'd be a question to MLS. But following up on what he said, I have this problem as well, even though normally I'm really assertive, but when I'm talking about something I don't know, I become really timid. And so I think just the more you become more comfortable with it, the more you know your market, the more you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
you'll become naturally
More confident.
more assertive, just because you'll be more confident about it.
Yeah.
And I-
Confidence is the certain.
I absolutely believe that is true.
Mhm.
If you're, and one of the things that I see all the time with new licensees is you're afraid to ask for business. You're afraid to ask for the sale, you're afraid to ask for the listing. I'm not afraid, because guess what they're gonna say? Yes
Or no.
And guess what they're gonna say to everybody? Yes or no. And the more times I ask, the more it's like a swing at a bat, right? So what is a good batting average? I don't know. I don't watch baseball. I have no idea.
350, 400.
Okay, so, but I mean, how many swings do I have to take to get that batting average?
Mhm.
So I have to constantly be, it's called ABC, always be closing, but I don't know about you, I don't enjoy somebody trying to sell me.
Mhm.
I don't enjoy that.
I've actually walked out of several stores.
Yeah, just because I'm not interested in being upsold on something.
Mhm.
So recognize that, and I mean, I put myself into a lot of different situations where I am interacting with salespeople because I'm a salesperson, and I actually enjoy a good somebody who's very excellent at selling. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, you're upselling me right now. Okay, go stand in Lowe's Hardware. Okay, there's some interesting opportunities. You have to be sold products. And a couple really good ones are phones or computer devices.
Best Buy.
Best Buy.
You shouldn't have brought up Best Buy.
I was at Best Buy a week and a half ago because I was like a swarm. It was like used car salesmen. Buy my computer. And then I got mad, and then I got upset because then I found out one of them was special, and then I felt really bad. But he was like the fourth one. He wasn't even I wasn't even there 5 minutes, and I finally, the guy walks up and he's like, "Can I help you with anything?" I was like, "Yeah, you can get everyone away from me because now I'm leaving because I'm
Too much.
done.
It's too
I'm
much.
done." And when I walked in and I bought this computer
Yeah.
right here, I walked in and I was looking and he's like, "Can I help you with anything?" I said, "No, I just need a minute.
I need to take a
I need
moment.
to look at all the computers and what they have to offer." And he waited 15 minutes until I summoned him over, and then he came, and then I was
And
like,
where'd you buy it?
I bought it at Best Buy.
Okay.
And then I had to return it and go buy a new one.
Oh, don't.
I didn't want to go. That was last weekend, 4 hours I spent.
Calm down.
I still have to go
Patty would
write
say.
a bad review. I know I'm going to. I'm going to go write a bad review. It was both of them.
Okay. Yeah, can't wait to talk to
Can never hear
her.
her.
I have stories for days about customer service at Best Buy, but anyway, we'll leave that alone. But while you're being sold, when you meet somebody who is doing a really good job selling you, you should acknowledge that. Just similarly situated when you meet someone
Take
who
note.
does an excellent job when they're serving you food.
Right.
That's customer service as well. Notice that. What does that feel like? What
Yeah.
did they do? What did they
Yeah.
say? When you're at a restaurant and somebody just really does a great job for you, pay attention. They're selling you. I mean, honestly. Go to a furniture store. Feel like what that's go to a mattress store. Feel like what that's like. But people who are, have to sell. Similar, I don't know about you, but I get people calling me on the phone trying to sell me stuff all the time. Okay? I actually listen to what they're saying sometimes. Sometimes. It depends on, everything depends on everything. If I have to be here and somebody's trying to talk to me about, can I talk to you about computer paper? I'm like, no. But I got to go. But literally sometimes take a minute and see what the experience is like. Because you want to know, how do I feel? How do I react in that situation? And remember that how you're reacting can be similar to other people. What somebody is doing can be irritating. Or you can, when you see some finer sales skills, pick them up. What did they do? What did they say? How did they make me feel? Typically, it's how did they make me feel? Did they acknowledge me? Yes or no? When I needed some questions answered, were they able to find out those questions?
The whole, did you acknowledge me? I was in whatever that shoe store is in the mall where they sell, they have all kinds of shoes there anyway.
Famous footwear.
No, it's, they do like the dance goes and all that
The
stuff.
walking store.
Yes. So it's kind of busy. I walk in there and this girl is asking, everybody, hi, can I help you? Can I help you? And for whatever reason, she looks at me and I could see her making some sort of evaluation.
Like, is she going to buy today?
And then she went, and I was ready to buy a couple pairs of shoes. was ready to spend some money.
But literally, she did not acknowledge you.
And I almost turned and said to her, I just have to know why you did that.
Yeah.
I just need to know.
Well, there's a famous scene from a little famous movie called Pretty Woman. And does anybody know the scene that I'm talking about?
Yes, when she walks into the like high-end store.
Yes.
And they said that you can't
afford what's in here.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I definitely,
she comes back and she's like,
this
yeah,
could have been yours.
Yours.
You work on commission,
right? Big mistake.
and I mean,
Big mistake.
I haven't watched that for a long
I
time.
definitely, I mean, I could tell that she had made a decision based on what I look like.
Mhm.
And she was like, and I thought to myself, you know what?
I'm not even buying in.
Yeah, and I wanted to say to her, I was ready to buy, spend $200 or $300 on your shoes here.
Right.
And now I'm not going to buy anything, and especially from you.
Right.
Because that's how angry I get when people make
Dismiss
that
you.
assumption. I absolutely just sends me over the top.
Always hungry because she has burgers, she has
Yeah.
everything. She even has a personal shopper.
Well, when you guys get the best haircut, when you dress up for your hairdresser, when you get the worst haircut, when you roll in your sweat.
Yeah,
wanna
I
get my
think,
hair
you know
done
what?
tomorrow.
I think you're right.
I don't know, I get my hair cut at home, I live with a hairdresser.
Well, that's-
She always suits me.
We're not talking about you. We're not talking about you. We're talking about the rest of
Well, no,
us, right?
I have a lot of tattoos and I have a lot of things. And when I'm on the weekends, I'm like out with my kids. My hair's like up here. There is no makeup on.
Yeah.
There's just like, you get treated completely different
Oh,
if I was walking a store.
totally.
Like
Mhm.
right now.
Yeah.
Because, I've got tattoos and I'm relaxed. I'm with my kids. I'm not, I'm just trying to shop or do whatever I'm trying to do. You get treated
Very
It's
different.
insane how different.
Yeah, that's why I think you ought to have a uniform. You ought to recognize that when you are doing sales, you're always selling. I know, I hate that. That
Can't
means
stand it.
because you're gonna run into your clients at the grocery store, you really are. So one of the things you guys can do, if you do nothing else, you can use these as your sellers packages. If you were to choose to use nothing else, we do these 3 upstairs. These are always prepared for you. These are one of the finest things I think our company does for its licensees, is we have all of these documents ready to go for you.
This looks
So
better.
the theory being, guys, you could walk into a listing appointment if you just grabbed one of the packages, and you would have all of the docs that you would hopefully potentially need in order to list the property. And if you added a couple more pieces in here, a CMA, right? And if you added your any kind of personal marketing pieces on top here, this would be a really great thing. Now, the only thing I might put it into, again, I might use one of our
Like a binder.
presentation folders, a binder, whatever makes you happy. I mean, if nothing else, right, a lovely presentation folder. Okay. You can also, there's binding equipment upstairs, you could bind something, although I don't love binding material, I'm gonna be really
I
honest.
like the
Old A-Rec.
Like especially stuff like this, like you have to take it out and,
Do you have a new A-Rec?
Exactly.
use that whole in the middle of your
Yeah,
contract.
Do you have a more updated one, like the A-Rec and stuff in here is outdated?
Oh, is it? That's going
Yeah.
to make me go ballistic. There you go. How about we change that? Anybody else have an A-Rec that isn't up to date? That's gonna cause Teresa to lose her something.
Yeah, I like this one better.
Right.
Very
Updated or no? Thank God. Okay, good.
Do you use this activity log? Does anybody use it? I've looked at it a number of times, but I've never picked it up
You
to
can-
use it.
Everybody's always looking for checklists. By the way, you can use that as a great checklist. That can be a way that you keep information. You can also ask if we have that somewhere where somebody has typed that up. You could expand that and use it as, so, but I mean, I think all of us are going to respond to different material differently. Would that make sense?
Mhm.
So I particularly, Gabe put together, Gabe and Jed did a fantastic job on a transaction timeline. I think this is one of the finest checklists that we've come up with. Okay, and we have these electronically, again, meaning that you could take this and receive this electronically and be able to modify it to you and your transactions. I particularly like to type things up because I like them neat. And I also like to use different colors because for me, listings were green because listings were money. So I had all of my listing folders were green, all my buyers were blue for buyer. Sorry, I'm real complicated. I'm super complicated. Sellers, I see, what's a color that starts with an S?
Salmon.
Pink. Sienna, right? But sellers meant green, just in my mind, sellers are money. The listing is money, so listings are green. Buyers are B for blue. That's just how I'm oriented. So every buyer would be in green, every seller would be in, I color code.
And I had this electronically.
You have this electronically selling. Yeah, so lovely. So you can actually get in here and you can type on it.
No, I have my own.
You have your
Let
own?
Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
However, great idea. If you wanted to make this electronically, I'm not sure if I could probably have Ari just do it, put it in and make it electronically.
I think we have the actual form that we can just send out to people.
But the cool thing is you can actually make it so when you fill in this information, or you've already filled it in the loop, like you've already got something corresponding, it will auto-populate.
That's lovely. Oh, that would be lovely.
Or vice versa, if you fill it in on this form, it will auto-populate to your details, so you don't have to type it more than once.
Yeah. So what we're talking about, what we want you to have is a couple different checklists. And what I've always recognized is until you fall into the checklist that works for you, it doesn't matter. So we give you lots and lots of different options. You're also going to find that other licensees have come up with their own checklists. You're going to also find some cool checklists online that are just amazing. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to continue to look for the absolute best checklist until I find the one that makes my insides go, oh, and you'll know it when you find it and you'll use it forever. Does that make sense to you? You'll know it when you find it and you'll use it forever. But I think this is probably one of the finest ones I've seen, and it's very up to date. The other thing I want to always mention is that title companies, you guys, give you free files, and their checklists in those title company files, they are amazing. They should do exactly what this does and keep you straight on the straight and narrow, okay? So we have key contact information, because that's what you really want to know, right? We've got milestone dates, right? These are all the same deadlines that you have in your offer. And then, for your use, here's what you need to do. So we've even got .loop first review, .loop final review. Make sure you do your commission letter, okay? Those types of things. So when we're going through here, we obviously have the AREC and the waiver of right to be represented. And if we put all these documents in here alphabetically, so if it starts with an A, it should be at the top. And if it starts with a Z, it should be on the bottom, so that you could be quickly looking through here and finding what you need. So the authorization and exclusive right to sell, this is going to be your listing document, right? So this is the document that you're going to be executing to fill in. I'm going to shock and amaze you sometimes, you guys. Does anybody, so far, when you're going on a listing appointment, so Lori, when you went on your listing appointment and you went to the lime green colored house, so did you go in doing a straight listing appointment, or did you go in to do an evaluation first, walk away, and then come back?
Just a listing appointment. I didn't know about that other one.
Okay, so there's two different things you guys can do, and this is going to be completely your style, and it's also going to be seller driven. Okay?
Seller what?
Seller driven.
Okay.
It could be a combination of your style and seller driven. So oftentimes I would make an appointment to go look at a listing, and I would let them know that I'm first going to come and go into your property. Okay, I'm going to do research on my end. So here's what I would do before I would go to a listing appointment. So I'm pulling number one, the government records on the property, which means for you in the Valley, I'm pulling borough records. And for me in the Anchorage municipal area, I'm pulling the muni.org records on the property. So I'm printing that out. If I have enough time, and if I have a great relationship with the title company, like you all should, I'm ordering a property profile on that property right now, which should mean that I would receive the property profile sometimes in my mail, but my email within a couple hours, possibly next business day, I would have it in my box upstairs. Probably.
They're very fast.
They're
with
so
those.
fast.
Yes.
I mean, totally impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, they just
Me
get
too.
right on
Right?
it.
So, and what you need to know about property profiles, they are not true opening title. Okay, there's some of the last recorded information on the property, that's it. Okay, so they're not the thorough title search that they do when they open up title. But the purpose of having that document in my hand is so that I have some higher end information on the property that makes me look better and smarter.
Mhm.
Anytime I can do something super simple that makes me look better, I'm gonna try and take an opportunity to do so. The other thing I am a huge believer in is if I don't know your neighborhood, I'm gonna immediately, if I have a listing appointment, I'm gonna go over and take a look at your neighborhood, and I'm gonna have some observations about your neighborhood, okay? I'm gonna be thinking on, if I have to bring somebody into this property, what's the best way to get here? I'm gonna be looking around, going where, you know, kind of like, what's the fab of this neighborhood? When I say fab, who knows what I'm talking about? Pretty close. Features, advantages, and benefits. You are so close, my friends. I'm looking for the fab. I'm looking for the fab of the house. I'm looking for the fab of the neighborhood. I want to be there at a time where they're kind of not expecting me. Also, never a bad idea to stop and take a couple photos of the property outside. Why might I want to do that? Anybody know?
So you can put it on CMA?
So yes and yes. So if I have a flyer template, I'm going to drop some pictures into my already pre-done flyer template so that I can show them that I already have a marketing piece done for their property. Because you're super smart. And then also when I'm doing my CMA, I'm going to drop in their actual photo. And please don't do two things. Don't go off of old MLS listings, and don't go off of Anchorage Live or Google Maps. Okay? Because they're old. They're old.
Generally, like 2011.
And I can tell you right now, there's a lot of people who've gone and painted the exterior of their house, or done some work on their property, or they're showing somebody in the driveway that they're mad about. I mean, you need to actually go over to the property, because it doesn't do you any good to do a nice marketing piece on the property and then for you to show up and be like, oh, and their house was yellow.
Have you ever had like a seller, had other who's in there taking pictures of their house?
Generally, no. I mean, generally, no, because we live in the world of Google. We live in the world of Anchorage Live. We live in the world where I can on a map put myself in front of your house and twirl around it. So, I mean, no. Typically, no.
I mean, and generally, you're probably going to be doing it during the day when no one's home anyway. I mean, I probably would be taking pictures of their little kid without front, and I'm now snapping pictures of their children. That might make me feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Sure, but I mean, I think obviously you guys would conduct yourself like professionals. If they were saying anything, you would say, I'm just putting together some marketing pieces for you if they were to come out and ask any questions.
Right.
And you asked me to come out and do a listing appointment. So this is part of by the way, this is part of my due diligence to do a listing appointment. So I'm doing a couple little extra things, you guys, because I'm wanting to get them signed. I'm wanting them to see that I've actually done a little bit more due diligence. Okay. I've also, go ahead.
Well, so that if you run into a situation here like Lori did, where, you know, there is that between the two, you know, like, let's say, for example, you could have seen that coming, or, you know, you were, you had this packet and you had a picture of their house, you know, maybe say, oh, okay, I understand that, but before I go, can I just show you some of the things that I've done here for you? And, you know, and show you all the marketing that I'm going to do for you?
Sure. And again, our job is always to prove our value. And one of the differences too, you remember when I said, I don't have a lot of people arguing with me about what the commission rate on the property is going to be. People don't even ask me what commission I'm charging. I, in theory, could probably charge, not whatever I want, because nobody's stupid, but I mean, you know, people don't ask me to cut my commission.
Yeah, hindsight's 20/20. I mean, I would have been stopped in my tracks too, like you were, like you say, you weren't expecting her to say that.
No, especially when somebody tells you, oh my gosh, you're it,
and then all of a sudden, right.
Uh-huh.
So just quick question, speaking of commission, is 6% standard throughout the country?
There's no such thing as a standard commission rate.
What, like if you go to like Texas or wherever, is it 6%? Is it 4%? I mean, do you have any idea?
I'm going to tell you 6% seems to be where they, and I'm being very careful with my words with my mouth, because it is a actual Sherman antitrust violation, which rolls into the hundreds of millions of dollars in fines, and I'm not going to take that on my back. But what I am going to tell you is that buyers and sellers over the years have kind of settled into where they seem to be comfortable with commission rates.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you need to think about based on hundreds of thousands of dollars, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our commissions are based typically on hundreds of thousands of dollars. So what I have seen is residential rates run from 5.5% to 10% through the United States.
Okay, that's all I was
Yeah.
looking for.
You know, in certain market areas, if there's a really, really, really heavy discount broker, those rates come down.
Okay, I
And
see.
in other areas of the country, I mean, those rates are pretty firm.
Mm-hmm.
But we're all under constant, your commission rate is under constant pressure. You know, so in order for us to keep this as an industry, I mean, I don't hate discount brokers, I just don't want to be one.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate them, I just don't want to be one. I don't want my services, you know, diluted to where we're a lockbox away from.
Yeah,
not selling real
I was just trying to get a feel for what's going,
But I mean, I think you need to, I think we all need to recognize when we're selling our own house, we have to put we're trying to put some sort of value
Yep.
onto what we do. And the more that you can show, and I think this goes to your point, is how can I show my value? If I can
Right.
do a couple small things that really show my value,
Yeah,
and if I do anything that's just a little bit over and above what somebody else did, I can tell you, there's two things that are gonna cause somebody to hire you as a listing license, to list their house. Number one, flat out, if they just like you more than the other guy.
mm-hmm.
If I just like you more than the other guy, I'm hiring you. So personal skills have a lot to do with it. Second thing is, if all things being equal, if I liked you and if I liked Kim and Kimberly, and if I like Jocelyn and I like Lori and I like Jean, if I liked you all equally, what's going to be there's going to be probably two things I'm going to look at as a determining factor. Who showed me the most value? Who showed me the most value? And what of all of the, you know, where could I really set myself apart is what more did I do and what more did I show you? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I really do think that people who start practicing higher end real estate, you guys, they're the people that you see do the better and best. And I guess Ava is probably my example of somebody who just like made a decision and I think she would tell you she does this at every single price point.
Oh,
Doesn't
yes.
matter if it's a $100,000 condo or a multi-million-dollar home.
Yes.
She has the same listing package. It doesn't
Right,
matter.
yep.
And I think that's her thing. And she goes into properties and she spends a lot of time on the rollout period. She spends a lot of time getting the property prepped. She spends a lot of time on doing she's got a couple little quirks that she does that are really, really cool. And those are the things that have like mushroomed into this amazing listing business.
And I personally wouldn't want to be known as the stereotypical, or what people see as the stereotypical. They don't do anything.
Right.
They put my house on the MLS and then they walk away until it's sold. I would not want people to think that is
The only thing you brought to the table.
right.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's ever a chance someone like Ava or somebody like that would come in and do a presentation in front of us? I know they're really busy.
The problem is she probably is too busy to do that. I mean, I can catch her on a moment, but and yes, absolutely, if I can ever catch somebody like that to come in and show you something, I will. But for the most part, when people start operating at that level, she's at a listing presentation right now. She's at a closing. She's showing a buyer property. She's going in.
I just thought I'd ask.
Amanda doesn't pass over. She does her listing presentation.
Yeah.
Who does?
It's this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you have
Yeah,
one
it's
person?
this. She does these. Doesn't she? Yeah.
She ran over on this.
Yeah, that's
Who's
all of her stuff. That's Kathy Fernandez.
So this is so that's interesting. She actually staples her business card in instead of putting in some fluff.
Mm-hmm. So it can't get lost. So you guys, let's take a break right now. Anyway, it's right up straight 11. And then at noon, what happens at noon?
Pizza, risk management, marketing.
Yay! Did she just do this at one of the classes?
This is last Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah.
deal and she brought.
Her listing presentation?
Oh, I'm so jealous I was not here Tuesday.
I know, sometimes I wish I could run in for that, but I'm
We
in
have them
Anchorage too
online.
much.
We put them online.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We put, but you can't, I understand, you can't always see the material.
Oh, and I like how she puts her advertising in bookmarks there.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's not paying for all those ads for nothing.
Well, no, I know that. I'm just saying.
No, but that's how she's, no, you're agreeing.
I-
She's leveraging her Lily ads just for that purpose. And you know what's also great about that is because they have no dates on it, nobody knows if it was from 10 years ago.
Right. The only thing is I wish she would update her damn picture. But I've been saying that for 10 years.
Yeah, she updated it from her high school photo. Like, so that was pretty amazing.
Yeah. And I wish her color copies were a little bit better, but.
But what's the choice, that again goes to, you can make those choices on your marketing material.
Right. I'm not saying that, and maybe she took the ones that came out crappy and brought it to lunch.
I would bet you that.
Maybe that's what she did. I like her slogan, "Don't make moves without me."
It's almost the same as first, I love Crowley, everything you guys do, I love it.
And
They're
there's,
so awesome.
I have no idea what it is.
Crowley's a real estate company.
Oh, that's fine.
Crowley.
Ocean Leading Art, yeah, I guess that's from, I've got all kinds, I have
No data.
my first one, so I've
That's a
February, I
question.
haven't used it since February.
So she's got herself set up as something Fernandez team.
Mhm.
Did she start out with that? Because we were having a good conversation on what the business name should be for the MLS and whatnot. So it's obviously an important decision to make up front.
No, it's not.
No, can you change it over time?
Well, yeah, her business name is actually Kathy J. Fernandez.
So it's just a marketing Fernandez
Yeah,
team or whatever?
Yeah, so she has her name, that's a Kathy J. Fernandez
So-
with her, and then that's just her marketing.
Give me your perspective on marketing under your name personally or under an entity name. And
That's
Yeah.
possibly, I think you'd want to build a business and then see where you were at financially and then make a business decision regarding that. I mean, because there can be, you can do it as a pass-through company and probably, as I said, I know, you know Jed has his set up as I believe it's an LLC with a
I
pass-through.
have a conversation with
Yeah,
because I've got a legal entity in Alaska right now. It's not doing anything.
right.
It's AK Home Solution, AK Home Solution.
Yeah.
And I got the web content, whatever. I've not done anything with it. I made business cards, which I'm not really used for any other purpose. So the question I have is simply this is, I'm not a known entity. I'm connecting whatever
Right.
people know me at some level. But I'm starting out, so I'm just thinking this, should I use this legal entity that I have? Or should I just let it be dormant and go into this business that's all para? And then at some point in time, migrate over, or is there a reason to?
I would think that, I always tell everybody in real estate, the most important thing is your name.
Okay.
Because there are never, a lot of times, entity names, and I can't tell you how many times team names change. I can't tell you how many times people go in and out.
Maybe it's a good place to start.
But I think your name is the most important thing. At least when you go across the country, even Gary Keller, one of the principals of Keller Williams is known by his name.
Okay, that's good enough for me.
I mean, obviously he started a company, Keller Williams, and there was a Williams, and he early was out of the picture. So that's the thing that I always say.
It's good to know, because I can always use that legal entity for something else down the road.
Or at some point in time, maybe it is a perfect marriage. And maybe you do, since you've already done that front work, your logo is done, now we just get a slogan that goes with that.
And you can always see your name with,
Yeah,
with
This entity, whatever makes
AK
sense.
Home
Yes.
Solutions or whatever it is, yeah.
absolutely.
That's how I'm doing, Jocelyn Blanchard with, Alaska House Hunters.
There you go.
Yeah.
So do both, but I think and then split your frog hair when it becomes important to split it, when you can actually see, and I always say this, I never know what's the thing that's gonna pop off. You know, is her Alaska House Hunters gonna pop off? Or is it Jocelyn Lancer that's gonna pop off? So which one?
I think perfect sense. That's good advice. I think that helps me. As I'm going on this journey, there's little BS things that come up in my head.
Oh, no, I know. But the lovely thing is, don't feel like if you make a decision, you don't even have to stick with your decision. Because you can change that.
But it's worth asking because sometimes I make decisions and then you find out you can't change that.
Oh, good point.
You know, like I bought a domain on Big Daddy and then somebody did a search over here and they said there's a business name that's a little too close to it
Right.
to get a business registered with that name. So now I got 3 years of a freaking domain name wasted. It's a
Well, you can-
money wasted.
Right, well, you can always do an auto forward from those domain names. You might not be able to
I
use the
couldn't even
business
use
name.
that because it was, but your point is that, when you go into business, it's good to ask the question of people that know.
It is, and I can't, and
Make some
honestly, I
mistakes.
can't tell you. And the other thing is, and I am old school, and I rock that on the front end, okay? I started doing this a million years ago, and we could only be paid in our name. You couldn't even go into business as a different entity.
Right.
So only I think the real estate commission in the last year, I believe, I think I am, but if I'm wrong, don't vote me off the island. Only has allowed in the last year for you to even use an entity name, period. So it used to only be that you could only be paid commission in your name. Well, so at our company, not at every company.
Okay.
Okay, so what you should know, so that's just, again, those are business type decisions that that might become important later. But to me, agents are known for who they are.
That makes sense.
You could be the condo queen, or, if I said Lisa's condo line, some people actually know what I'm talking about. Lisa Harrington, for about 20 years, she registered it, she trademarked it, she did everything, because she was in the Lisa's condo line, she was in the newspaper. That was her thing. And now she still owns it, but it wasn't proving productive, so she dumped it, but everything that she had that went to it, including she's still paying the phone number, she still has a registered trademark, she won't anybody take it, but it bumps up to her Harrington company.
Well, that makes sense. That's-
So, and you never know, again, I never know what's gonna pop off, I never know,
That's a perfect answer.
Are you busy after 1?
Always so much.
I wondered if you could help me with the counter on that. Right, it shouldn't take but a few minutes, should it?
Oh, it'll take whatever time it takes, but yeah, as soon as
As
we're
soon
done,
as
yeah.
we're done, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you also help me find that commission agreement thing for the postal by owner?
Sure, they're right up,
Not in MLS.
it's in the form source.
Okay.
It's in the form source.
Well, maybe it'll be about.
Possible. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else need anything?
Later.
Yeah, let me see. Do you have it?
Could you come home with me? I'll clean your house if you come home and help me.
I'm like, if you give me a minute, I'll think of
I
something.
love that here, because at the other office, like if I ask somebody something, they just tell me something and send me off.
I need this to stand out a
I
lot
don't know
more.
what to do.
Too small can't.
Yeah.
But with Teresa, she'll talk to me through the detail, make sure I understand it.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I go back to
I'm just
Priscilla,
telling you
I'm
right
like,
now,
like
that
I can
font,
left
when I'm
here
reading it,
and
I'm gonna
call
my eyes are
somebody there that's like the
and
trainer
I give you impressions that
over
I'm
at
having.
Priscilla, and I said, I got an offer today, my first offer.
I also don't.
Shoot, what should I do? Like, do you want to see it? No, just,
I don't want it.
if you think you have another one coming in, just wait to get the other one coming in. She didn't want to read the offer or help me
I
understand
like to
these
see,
things.
this is just
And she doesn't call me
that
to
my
say,
eye appreciates this. I like to see.
how's it going on the
have
offer
your
you
logo.
received? Even though it's my
Yeah.
very first one, I've never done the calendar. She'd say, oh, just go through the counter and send it on. I'm like, I've never done one. I don't know how to do it.
Right.
That
It's a
kind of
scary
stuff.
thing, because
When you're talking about legalities and representing
it,
somebody.
that is it, yeah.
It is. It is.
And you just kind of feel like, I relate to what you say. It's like, should I, if I say this, is it wrong? I mean, should I say, how much can I say? It's like, you know what I mean? I don't know, but that's where I think I'm glad that I'll be working with Ava, because she'll tell me.
Yeah, she'll want you to be trained to
The way she does
Very
this,
good.
yeah.
yeah, so there at Wasilla, I just feel so alone. I mean, there's people around you all the time. They're just so busy that I don't feel like there's somebody who I can say, can you sit down with me for 15 minutes, read through this, and tell me how I should respond. And because when I talk to Teresa, then I feel confident in responding to my client. I come across much more professional, like I'm representing them well, why I'm making these changes, why I'm proposing this, you know. And I
Right.
can explain it to them and they're like, oh, sure, great. Yeah, let's put that in.
You know, there's pros and cons. I know in my last job it's interesting because I replaced Ava at the university. She left to go back to real estate and I replaced her. And it was a much more complicated job than I had been doing. And it was, I was running the land sale, I was closing the sales, I was doing all this stuff, writing deeds, the whole bit. And at first, I'd go to work every day just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. What's going to happen today? And I'll tell you, being put in without anybody was probably the best thing because I had to do my homework and I had to compare and I had to look. And let me tell you, after about 18 months, 2 years, I was the one everybody came to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, man, you're in it and you have to figure it out. But it's still, it's so nerve-wracking.
Kind of is, I think. I'm a lot better now than I was a couple months ago, but I'm still that way because I'm going through so many things the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
At least you have, you could always call Teresa.
Yeah, like I called you yesterday, she called me right back.
Yeah.
A few minutes later, but
Or
it's just so, it means
scan
so
something
much.
to her. And,
Yeah, or forward her my emails out of my dog
Yeah.
loop and read it
Right.
before I submit that calendar. I'll probably send her and say, can you just glance at this real quick? And she will say, it looks good.
Right. Well, here, she wants to see it. It's like, I want to look at him. It's like, perfect.
So when it's time for me to write it, after going through this guy's offer, I just feel so much better. Like I would write it and do it.
Right. Right. Oh, that was really valuable to go through that yesterday. A real one. Really good. Yeah. I was going to ask you the lime green house. Is it?
I'll show you the difference.
Is it in Palmer?
It's near Palmer and Trunk and Palmer Fishhook. Trunk.
Oh, okay. So I don't know where, because there's some pretty wild painted houses, like sort of downtown Palmer-ish.
Yes. Did I take it the first before my kids got me? Yeah. Here's what it looked like.
I know I've seen that house.
Yeah, that's it before.
Wow.
And I went by last night. Oh, I didn't want to do that.
Not when you don't have to.
Right. And so, yeah.
And that was a picture last night.
Oh, okay.
Isn't
Oh,
that
gosh.
better?
So much better.
So much better.
I can show you that house of the lime greenhouse. Oh my God. Is that what you? What is that? No, it's in Palmer. You pull up and you're like.
Nice. For someone that likes green, sure.
There's one that I don't.
Oh, really? What did she think every time she pulled up it was just make her happy? Like her house.
It's her house, right? I mean, she likes it.
I would die if I was her neighbor. I would die.
That is.
Well,
Can you imagine if that was your house next to the line?
What about if it was bright yellow, you know?
What if you paid someone to paint it that color? Oh, so much better. Oh, lovely. Yeah.
So it's like before and after shots.
Yeah. And it was that color.
Really?
So I think they painted.
There you go, it looks more normal now.
Yeah.
So
It's beautiful now,
really
actually.
would attract.
But look at
This is
what
not
it,
the duplex, this is the other one.
no, this is a house.
But look at the difference of paint job names.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the difference of paint job names.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah.
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 I
Okay,
gotta get
so let's talk
covered
about
for
doing
this.
CMA, yeah?
Shipping.
should we work on it? So we're gonna, what did I tell you is the most important information? So if you do residential, I'm gonna do active, pending, and closed.
How do you make it too long?
I think I use either control or shift, I'm sorry, I'll do it again. I think I'm using control, nope, I'm doing.
About how many of those do you want?
I'm using shift. I personally, I think it is unimportant information to know whether or not a listing is withdrawn, expired, or canceled.
I mean, how many active do you want? How many pending do you want?
I want to see what I'm working with,
Uh-huh.
and I'm sorry to say, everything depends on everything.
Yeah.
Okay, it depends on the property.
Okay.
So if I know that I have a golden unicorn, which is a rare property, I know that I'm not going to have a lot of other properties to look at. But if I'm just doing a typical house, okay?
Mhm.
And I'm using I think it's really important, if I didn't already mention this, that you should have a absolute active knowledge of what houses are selling for in your neighborhood,
Mhm.
okay? And you should have an absolute understanding of what you think your home is worth. Does that make sense? Because I then extrapolate that information when I walk into houses, because I live in a pretty, really, really average property. The only thing that my property has that is a little unusual is I have a single car garage versus a double car garage, straight up, single car garage. And I have a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, about 1,800 square foot house, with a single car garage. Now I can extrapolate off of that, what?
What does extrapolate mean?
I can take that information based on what my house is worth today,
Uh-huh.
and then I can kind of compare
Oh,
other houses
yeah,
to my own
right.
home.
When you
And
go
that's
somewhere else.
exactly what you're doing when you're going in to see what a property is worth. And if you really, really aren't sure what properties are worth, if you're not working with a buyer, you need to have your highness looking at as many properties as humanly possible, which is why we want you going on tour, which is why I want you and privately going out and previewing properties.
See, and I think for me, the tours and all of that is going to be way more beneficial because I can't compare my house in the valley to,
Oh, for sure. And you are sincerely in a unique position. You're driving in every day.
Yeah.
And Anchorage isn't where you're, but still, the point being, if you had to put your house on the market tomorrow, you need to know what it's worth.
you're right. Yes,
You need
yes,
to know
that
what
is
it's worth.
true.
God forbid anything happened where you would have to put your house on the market. And I really, really mean that. But you need to know what your house is worth at a moment's notice.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking at active and pendings. I said that, I just let you know, I'm only gonna look in my market area, okay? I'm starting with.
Jonathan.
Study good.
You should come in and join us.
Where you been?
Excellent, thank you. We'll have to
That's
talk
all right. We
about it
talk
later.
about you when you're gone.
We do talk about you. Okay, so, and again, so what did I let you know? I know that my house my tax value is $291, right? Or $298, whatever, $290, okay? So I know I'm not selling my house for less than $290. Would that be right? Did I already
Yes.
tell you that? I'm not
Yes.
doing that. So I can start here, $290. Okay, so that's two unlimited in theory, okay? And I have 3 bedrooms, right? Now, you can really narrow your criteria, or you can really leave your criteria pretty open, okay? But the single thing that I know is a big deal.
Are you going to put 3 bedrooms or not?
No.
Oh,
Because right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the
I'm
most
copying
returns,
you.
and I'm seeing what I have. Here's going to be the single determining factor on my particular house in Anchorage. I have a single car garage versus a double car garage. Okay, so I'm going to start knowing that in my market area, I'm not going to sell it for less than $290. Okay,
Mhm.
so I don't want to look at anything that's lower because I don't care. I'm not going to even consider that.
Okay.
You're not gonna consider that your CNA?
No, I'm not, because I'm going to see how many I get returned. Because I'm already right now going to limit myself a lot. Watch this, because I'm going to put them in one car garage.
Okay.
See where I'm at? So
Mhm.
now I'm going to just view results, and I'm going to see what do I get as a return. And if I don't get enough.
Did you say 0 to 1 or did you just do 1 and 1?
So right now, I've got 49 results.
Where are you seeing 49?
Zero to
Oh,
one.
there, right here,
So-
49%.
So I've got, see what I'm saying? I need to know what I'm working with. So if I put a 2-car garage in here, guess what I would come back with? Probably 300 results.
But you wouldn't put 1-to-1 for your garage?
No,
Okay.
no, I wouldn't. Okay, so, because I know that properties sell, just something that I know that properties sell with no garage.
Okay.
Especially in my market area. But I also want to make sure that I'm not comparing my home to a 2-car garage, because that's a single delimiting factor. Does that make sense to everybody? Do you know what I mean by a single delimiting factor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm going through here, and I'm also taking a look at, you guys. I have a lot of listings to choose from, but one of the most important things I need you to pay attention to is the year of the listing, right? So what's the first 2 numbers in the listing number? Because that tells me how long ago the listing was. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select all these properties. I've got 49. Is that too many?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, but I'm gonna use all results. I'm gonna hit a CMA, and just FYI, what I'm gonna do, the fastest thing I'm gonna do, and you guys, some people put a lot of pressure on themselves to do these beautiful CMAs. I like to use a statistical CMA first. You know why?
A statistical.
No, I don't know.
CMA.
I've never done that.
Okay, cool. Let me show you something.
She's going too fast.
Oh, I see.
I'm
You're just
trying to
gonna
learn
get
it.
I'm gonna get the quick and dirty. What's the quick and dirty?
down here.
Is
There are
this
11
called quick and
active-
dirty?
There are 11
Statistical.
listings active. There are 7
Is there
listings closed.
No, I did statistical
Oh,
early.
you got
No,
that.
7 pending.
Thank you so much. There are 11 listings active.
Oh.
There are 7 listings
Oh, got
pending.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the low is 299.9, the high is 554, and the pending 292, high 327. Okay, I'm looking at the square footages. I'm looking at the average. I'm looking at the price.
And how many square feet is your
My
house?
house is like about 18 to 1900. So guess what
Now-
I'm looking at?
You're
Average
looking and you're
per-
seeing
per
that,
square foot?
I'm looking right now, I'm just telling you, a really quick CMA tells me
average.
that closed, I'm looking at the average. 317 is closed, 310 is pending, and 340 is active. So I'm telling myself right now, just statistically, that I am probably not selling my house for, just Teresa, I'm probably not gonna be able to list my house for more than $340,000,
Right.
okay?
And if you do go that high, you have to find out why that one is
Correct,
340.
correct.
What does it have that's special
Right,
over?
I'm still within my square footages, guys, I'm still within the 1900, I'm
So you
okay.
didn't put any square footage.
No
in
square
your-
footage. That surprised me.
In your search. So what did you put again?
I did,
One car garage.
I did the area. So I'm looking at just between you and me, I'm looking at what I consider to be the single delimiting factors.
Okay.
So here's what I absolutely know. I absolutely know when you're looking at a 1-car garage property, I want to be comparing that again to a 1-car garage property.
But you did 0 and.
I did
1
0 and 1 because I know that properties still sell absolutely with
without
no
garage.
garage.
Okay.
So I
So you
say,
did the area. the
I did
garage.
area. I did I would call it a single delimiting factor. So for example, if I have a 900 square foot house,
Okay,
okay, I mean, I know that 900 square foot houses sell.
right.
But
They're
I
not
know
gonna sell the same as
They're not gonna sell
2,000.
the same as a 1,300 square foot. So I'm looking at if I can find something that I absolutely know.
So like for me, that's just my
Yeah.
house, right? I don't feel like I have a single.
Delimiting factor. You've got the average J
Like
house.
a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage,
Sure.
6,000 square foot
Yes.
lot.
You've got the perfect average house. So what
Right.
you're gonna do is you're gonna look at other perfect average houses.
Okay,
But-
so you would put more information in
Yes.
those fields?
Yes, I would, because you have the absolutely perfect average house, right? The 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm gonna have to look at other factors for that particular property. Area is gonna be a really big deal,
Okay,
right? And then, and then sometimes neighborhood within area.
okay.
So I might only go to your
For
neighborhood,
my neighborhood. you
Right.
would Just go. Okay.
right? Because I probably wouldn't, I think you're in, what are you in, 25? Are you-
I am in.
Or are you in,
I'm in Tudor to, Abbott, which is, hold on.
then 40? Are you in 40?
35.
Are you signing for the new thing?
Okay, so 35 is not gonna get you where you need to go.
Okay, so I need to go deeper.
You're gonna need to go, you're gonna probably even have to go neighborhood
Okay.
on yours. Mine, I absolutely know, and this is just from years and years of experience, I know that Area 15 has a ton of properties that are very similarly situated to mine.
So I think you're between 310 and 340, and you would have to find something really special about your house
Just
to
tell it
make it to
that's correct.
340.
See? So what I'm doing, do you see how quickly I'm doing this? This is just
Yeah.
statistically. I'm doing this super fast statistically. Now I'm gonna go back, okay? I'm gonna go back to this same thing, and I'm gonna go back to my search results, okay? I'm still gonna do a CMA.
Would you have printed that out just to have it in front of
I
you?
absolutely could have that. But I'm just telling you, you guys literally, you guys could use this list as a CMA. You can use just this list. Now, I have 50 properties. That's a lot of properties.
When did you check those?
What do you mean, when did I check?
When she said select all.
When I said select all.
Oh,
Right, thank you.
So it would.
This button right
they were
here, do you see
checked,
this right
but They
here?
all came out the same.
Here you go. Here's a button right here. Select all. Unselect all.
Oh,
Select all.
Question,
Yes.
with my house being built in the 90s,
Uh-huh.
would you still, for the first initial search, would you still see properties from the 70s?
Yeah, I would, because a lot of properties from the 70s look better than properties in the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
because,
was just wondering.
yeah, I would, and year built is only gonna really, really matter when you get into probably the last 5 years.
Okay. Well, I thought like in 1985, they were starting to be held with a new code.
They were starting to be held, not necessarily with the new code. I mean, yes, probably code had a factor, but the energy rating standards.
Right.
More the energy rating standards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just know, like, for instance, like home inspections cost more for homes built before 1985.
Who charges more for that?
I've got 3 home inspectors that charge an additional $50 fee. if
Oh,
the home is
interesting.
Pre-1985.
That's actually super interesting. I have not actually heard that.
Okay, so that's why I'm
That's giving
asking,
you- yeah.
because, you know, for me, if they're charging more because the home was built
Yeah.
with different code.
And I'm not downing that, but I'm not saying, I mean, when I get into some 70s houses that have been beautifully either maintained or have had a renovation,
Yeah.
you know, I can't, but I mean, if you're in my 70s disco nightmare, yeah,
Okay,
I mean, we have to take a look at that. So
Disco
my
night.
70s disco nightmare. Okay, so here's some other things that I'm gonna quickly go through this list, and I'm gonna see, okay, this is a 2,800 square foot house. Nope, not my.
so you just uncheck it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna uncheck it now.
so, okay, so now you're doing square foot
Now I'm
residential.
looking. So now I'm saying 2,100 square
How
foot
did
lines.
I
Okay, that's
change?
a little high, but I could probably use it. 2,000, yep, a little high, but I could probably use it. 300,000, perfect. This one at 2,600 square feet, no way, that's a comp, right? One at 2,300, that's probably not a comp, but let me see how many I have, right? 3,000 square feet, what do I know right now?
No, forget it.
No.
No.
And how many square feet is your house?
1,900. So it's kind of right in this kind of what I would call the sweet spot, and I want to
So
go.
what do you do up and down? About 200?
It really depends, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a jerk, it just really depends. Like 1,400, this is pending, it's 299.9. I'm actually leaving this in because it's 1,400 square feet. Do you see that?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's
And it's going
well
for,
below, but it's going for 299.9.
right, and it's going for about what you said your minimum is.
Right, exactly. So why would I wouldn't.
And they get a
necessarily
real
take
kick
that
out of the picture. I mean,
Right.
that looks like the shed in the backyard.
Exactly, and then look at this, 295.5 for an 1,100 square foot house. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm leaving that in there too,
Right.
because it's actually pending.
Because those are really beneficial to you.
Correct.
Because now you're looking,
Now my house is looking a little bit better.
right.
So this one closed in
Interesting.
2014 at 1,400 square feet with a 21,000 square foot lot. I think I told you I've got a 7,000 square foot lot and I'm at 1,900 square feet on my house. So, and it sold for 315. So I'm leaving it in there, but I could always go uncheck it. It did sell last year. So
Okay, and then something's off with this, Arctic Boulevard, I know something's off with this.
Must be
1,200
commercial.
square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, 1,300 square foot lots, sold for $429. So
Is
what
it-
do I want to see immediately?
Is it right on Tudor maybe?
I don't know what.
Or am I right on Arctic?
It's an I-1 lot. Okay, so that's, what do I know about that?
Industrial?
Industrial 1, this is not a comp, and it also sold for $429,000.
Okay, that could be a business too.
Yes, so it is not a comp, and my house is not selling for $429,000, I'm telling you right now. If wishes were horses, all beggars would
If
ride.
it did, you'd have a sign in
Right,
front, right?
it'd be sold right now. Okay, Jaguar, I know this area, 296, it's 2014, I could leave, okay, now I'm gonna go back to my list. I can leave this comp in if I want to. It's starting to pull my value down, so I'm starting to look at it. 290 West 73rd, 1,500 square feet. But this is telling me something right now. A 1,500 square foot house, you guys, with 1.75 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms, 1 car garage, is selling for $290,000. And these are both ranches. My house is a 2-story. So ranches are not the same as a 2-story home, no matter how you slice it. People like ranches a lot more. Ranches are more coveted. Why is a ranch more coveted?
I just think
No
it's easier.
stairs.
Yeah,
People
the
people want
stairs, it's
stairs
just
out of their
easier,
life.
yeah.
Okay, so 315 Opal Drive, 1,200 square feet, 3 and 2 and 1, and it sold for $315. That's making me happier, and that sold in $215, and it's active on the market right now. So that in theory is my competition. 294 West 91st, sold in 2014. I have a lot of properties, you guys, that are in 2015, 2014. If I wanted to dump one, I could. This one might be a candidate that I would dump because the square footage is so low. And it was sold in 2014, although the value, the value is there. 310, this is closed in 2014 again. So I'm looking at this, and I'm just looking to see if I see any like total,
Off the wall.
yeah, off the wall things that I think that I should just dump. I also I know that there was something in here that it showed that it was like 2013, and I for sure want to get rid of that one. But this one right here on Blackberry, this is looking a lot like my house, almost exactly. 313, close to 2015, 1,920 square foot, almost the same lot with the 1-car garage. So right now, if I have to pick a winner for an almost, it's Blackberry.
So then would you also have to add in whether or not how bad you need to get out?
You could. I certainly could.
How quickly you need to sell, that kind of thing?
Possibly, and then I might want to go through here and see if there are any properties in here, for example, that might have been like distressed. Like, I would need to make sure that I don't have any foreclosures. I'm not selling at a foreclosure. You guys don't probably see as many shorts anymore. I'm not selling at a short, so I need to go through here and take these out, right? I do not have an acre of land, no matter how I slice it. I'm not selling my house for $385,000. I need to be aware of that. I'm also taking out the one at 197. I want to say that was a foreclosure. I think I know that one. Some of these, again, if I needed to, because I have a 2-story and because I have so many comps, I could really easily go through here, you guys, and dump anything that wasn't a 2-story, because I do not have a ranch. So,
So it's not really comparable.
It's not really comparable. So if I see some ranches in here, what could I start to do?
Just get rid of them.
I could just get rid of them. And I have enough other property, do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That I can just dump it. And obviously, even I am looking and going, okay, well, they got, this one's pending. I'm looking to see which one's smiling.
Why do some people put their main picture as a kitchen or?
They're changing it up on the listings. I think it's, in my worldview, that is stupidity. They think that they're getting people to access,
Inside the home.
yeah, or if they have a particularly ugly exterior,
Oh.
for you not to just downplay.
Well, it's
But
kind of frustrating
It
to
is
me.
frustrating for all parties. Let me just be really honest with you. Terry Street, that was okay. Again, I'm just trying to I spy with my naked eye, anything that looks a lot like my house and/or anything that is a ranch that I can dump. And I know that I have to go up there and dump a couple ranches.
So you're dumping new construction as well?
No,
There's,
I don't have anything that's new construction in here. Nothing, because they're not building, and the easy reason is because they're not building any new construction with a one-car garage. So I'm pretty safe. Opal Drive is not a comp, right, because it's too big. 335, this one is not, can't be a comp because it's 3,000 square feet, so I dumped that. And
go back to the list.
I just found a house I did an open house on, I don't know, last year, year before that.
Yeah.
New construction, that's what it's on, bullshit.
still hasn't sold, yeah, that can happen. Okay, so I'm looking at anything that looks to me like, and this might be a ranch, so I'm opening it up. Is this a ranch?
Looks like a ranch.
It looks like one. Does it say single story? There's a lot of these houses, you guys, that they're very, what would you call it? They're very deceiving because they might have a basement underneath. Great ranch. Yep, it's a ranch. So what do I know?
You need to just zap it.
I need to dump it.
Zap it. Don't just dump it, zap it.
Mhm. I want my list with my problems. So this one's a ranch, not the
Where
third.
on here
And I'm
does
gonna
it
go out,
say?
and so something like that. So do you see how you might, and these are old school
Two-story.
houses, so I'm going through and I'm trying
Floor
to dump
style
all the
multi-level.
ranches. Because they are not, and this one, Tashi is a ranch. Okay. If anything is too old, I'm gonna dump it. I think this property is not a ranch. And do you get why you need to do that? So Jaguar is a ranch. And 1,500 square foot, this one's a ranch, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, so a split level is when you come in and then you can either go up or down, right? And the up would be, because isn't there a tell me the different ones. There's ranch, of course, we know. Split level, right? Then there's, what else?
Traditional, right?
What's traditional?
All bedrooms located on the same floor and all living area located on the same floor.
Oh, and like bedrooms upstairs or
I don't
something.
think it doesn't matter if the bedrooms are up or down as long as they're both all located on the same floor, right?
But
Yeah.
basically, you're getting.
I didn't know that.
So now I now only have 35. So what am I doing again? You guys need to play around with your CMA. I'm using no, I'm using selected now because I went through. Okay, and I'm just gonna real quick again, I'm gonna do a quick statistical CMA. And I'm gonna look at it and see, because I dumped some properties out of there that were not true comps. Open the damn thing.
I know, it's got a little slow there, huh?
Yeah, just for a second. And now I just want to be, and see, I'm just viewing things.
Wow, that
Going
puts the
through.
averages all really, really close.
Okay. So again, here's what I got now. My active 299, my average is 317, my high is 335. My pending 292, average 314, high 327. And my closed 292, average 310, high 337. So what do I know right now?
I would list you at 315.
You would list me at 315 for a quick sale. What if I wanna,
More money.
what if I want more money?
335.
Well, what's the average between 314 and 327?
Well, if the highest right now is high.
Is
on the market-
337, it's 337.5, right?
No, that's highest closed. Highest active right now is 335.
Yep.
So I would probably take the highest active number. You don't want to be too high over what's currently on your market.
But do you guys see where you can use? this
Yeah, I've
to
never seen
really,
that one.
Really, really help you.
Yeah.
And you can use those photos, and then now, if I needed to, what I would go back, and so I had 35 listings. Statistically, 35 listings might be too many.
But look at the days on market.
Only I use 5.
Yeah, what's that?
Look at the days on market for the active, that 335. I mean, when you look at those higher prices, the days on market go
Yeah, 179.
quite a bit longer.
Right.
I don't think you should go over
Looking for-
320. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm not listing your place for over 320.
What do you think? I'm just curious to know, what do you, if, based on this,
Here's what's really
Well,
interesting.
you just put all new windows.
I put all new windows, I painted it last year. I'm putting in engineered hardwood floors right now. I'm not putting in laminate, I'm putting in engineered hardwood. which is fancy hardwood. That's supposedly gonna wear better. And the only true difference with this house is I literally have that access to that school. So my house will probably
Sand
sell at between 340 and 350
Wow.
because of location. Here's what I know. So then I have to go back and add in a couple factors that nobody else is gonna know. I have access to the school. I live on a lake.
oh, well, there you go.
You see what I mean? You have to add in a couple things.
Yes.
Which is why, if
She
you don't
would
go
have
drive by the
information.
property, and take a couple photos, you're not gonna know that.
Right.
You know, see what I'm saying?
Yes, that's
So-
right.
Everything depends on everything, right?
Interesting.
Where'd you go for your flooring?
I went to, believe it or not, I went to Save On Flooring, and you could have knocked me over with a feather. First of all, that I would go in there. I normally get everything from Don at Decor, but I hated the crap he had. Hated it.
I haven't had the money to pay for it yet, but I picked my flooring from Save On Flooring.
I'm telling you, I've been really super happy. I mean,
Them in, what's that place off of, Arctic? Not Arctic, that one.
oh,
Well.
yeah.
They had a pretty good selection too.
Yeah, no, but I mean, and I went and I looked at lots and lots and lots of different stuff. I went to K&W. I was gonna be happy with laminate. But then I actually saw, I could show you a photo of the crap I almost put in my house. And it would scar you for life. So one of the things that you really should do is before you put flooring in your house is you should go online and see what it looks like when it's laid. That's super important because that saved my life. I was gonna go put some flooring in my house and I'm also looking for not your, when you have a house like mine, you don't wanna do the absolute recent trends because the rest of your house doesn't look like the most recent trend and then your house looks odd, you know?
Yeah.
So right now, the big fat trend is to put in light floors or gray floors.
Oh, that would never work in my house.
Yeah, but I mean, not only will it not work, not only do I not personally like it, because I have to live there, but the other thing I'm looking for is my house is just off enough. It's actually a California side split.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
That means you walk into the side of the house and there's a stairwell going up. It's called a California side split.
Oh,
But anyway, my house is just kind of like wonky enough that I don't want to go with something super trendy because the house doesn't lend itself to trend.
yeah.
If that makes sense, it's kind of really.
Isn't Save On just, I don't know where we are.
Do you know where the old bowling alley at Arctic? Hello, we have pizza.
Arctic.
It's right next to that bar, the Buckaroo.
Is it?
Okay.
It's across the street from McDonald's.
Okay, so it's not too far,
I'm sorry.
it's not too far from here, right?
That's the next street.
Yeah.
My bad.
You turn left on 36, then right on,
They're in the old
Arctic.
bowling alley.
Okay.
Bailey's Furniture used to be in there. Not, it used to be Roller Rink.
okay.
Roller Rink, Bailey's Furniture was in there for a long time.
They're Save Bailey's, not like huge Bailey's, it was their.
Yeah, it was their
uh,
outlet. It was their outlet, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Okay, so do you see why and just FYI between you and me, I start here. I start here. And then I'm gonna go back, and then when I do my fancy schmancy, you guys, when you do your fancy CMA, what can you do? That was my old one.
What's list volume?
That means the total amount, so of these 11 properties, that's a list volume of 3.7 million bucks. That's absolutely uninteresting information to
Okay,
us. Does that
yeah.
make sense? Okay, so I'm going back here. Now, I'm gonna go back to my search results again, because I like to do quick CMAs first. Now I'm gonna do another CMA, watch me here. Use the selected ones, and I'll show you it in the fancier version, right? So I'm gonna do a full CMA.
You know what I feel like?
Huh?
Yeah, really good deal in the house.
You're good, you're just like, good to know. I'm gonna say next step. I have 35 listings, that is, a lot of listings, would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna use, for Teresa, blog, Jackwright Real Estate, no, I'm not gonna have any comments, you can drop a photo in, right? Okay, I'm gonna put my address, and there's no reason for me to, geolocate, because what did I tell you about this house already?
You live in it?
Nope, it's never been listed.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm gonna upload a photo or remove a photo, and I would upload a photo typically, you guys, from a camera roll, right? Okay, and I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna say I have 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. And do you notice I didn't care? It was not statistically important how many bathrooms I had. It was not statistically important how many bedrooms I had. Why?
Because you can have large bedrooms and have 2, or you can have small bedrooms and have
Hmm.
3 or 4.
I mean, it just is not that big. When you're in these old neighborhoods, they're typically all the same. So somebody isn't really gonna care if you have a 3.75 bathroom versus a 1.5 versus a 1.75. I mean, they're just, statistically, it's not that big of a deal. Garage 1, year built 1974. So I have to put all this stuff in here, right, for it to do it. You're gonna geocode methods. Hey, here's all those listings. Again, I can start to take a look at here if there's anything that's odd. Oh, here, one on 2013. What am I doing right now?
Hey, you just want to,
I'm just dumping that. 2000, I cannot use a listing from that long ago. Okay?
Even if it didn't sell, so.
No, it's sold, but it's of no statistical value when it's that old. Okay? And if I wanted to, I could go through here. I have enough listings. I could go dump any from 2014. So as a matter of fact, how would I do that? So do you see what I'm doing? Why would I want to do that? Why would you, if you have this many listings, you guys? Dump the ones that are too old.
You're dumping all of 14.
I'm dumping anything that's 2014 because why?
Old value.
Market has changed and I've got too many listings.
So there's a for sale sign in my neighborhood,
Mhm.
not one thing too, but it's not on MLS, and the sign's been out for like.
That can be a coming soon listing.
oh, what?
But aren't we not allowed to do that?
No, the MLS allows you to do that, our company policy is not me.
If they're with our company.
Then I would go ask them what's the dealio.
Why would someone list and not put it on the MLS?
Because they're still preparing it for,
Yeah.
showing.
And it could be one of those. So just now, I still have a huge amount of listings, right? Now, I'm gonna tell you, you probably are not savvy enough to do adjustments without, what am I gonna tell you? Without what? Without help and with an appraiser. You're just, and most of the time, you probably don't need to do them. You know, because is there really we could have a whole conversation on that. Okay, so it's gonna give me a summary. Those are all the closed listings. Here's, okay, and again, what is my pending, closed, pending, high? Do you see all that?
Is it better to do closed listings or does it really matter?
The most important listings are your closed. The next most important listings are your pendings. The least important listings, but that are your competition, are what's active.
Mhm.
Okay, and obviously, you need to understand how you stack up against the competition. So what I'm saying, my competition is there's one property that's listed at $299. But it's been on the market for 65 days. So what does that tell me?
That it's in bad shape.
There's another property that's on 335, that's been on the market for 111 days, and one at 310 that's been on the market for 179.
Wow. I'd like to go
I
by and
might want
see
to go
those.
take a look at those listings, or
I
I
was just
might
gonna
want to
say.
go through and see if there's anything that, if there's not statistically important, I could actually dump them, right?
Mhm.
So, and there's so many listings, you guys, I totally have enough
talk to her.
to do this, okay?
That was really helpful.
294, recommended 335 as high, and recommended 310.
Interesting. Very good.
But what if I also tell you? Am I selling my house for that amount of money? So without you getting out and looking at the neighborhood, you're not going to know that.
Okay.
And without you having an additional higher end conversation with your clients, you are not going to know that there might be additional value,
All righty. Yay.
okay?
Very
More
helpful.
CMA for Dave. A dead soldier. Okay.
It's when they're always goes first.
I know.
Always one and two of those and one of the other.
You know what, I'm actually gonna make a suggestion, how about that? I can make a suggestion. How is everybody?
Pretty darn good. How about you?
We're done. Thank you, babe. I'm done.